So this is the main site for IngramSpark. It is simply IngramSpark.com. But instead of going over the whole website, we'll be covering off many different elements of this website in a way that it can help you throughout the course and throughout the lessons. But let me go to a few key summary points for you that will highlight what IngramSpark can do to help you be a self-publisher. So IngramSpark can connect your book to over 40,000 libraries and retailers in person and online worldwide. With the online platform, there is approximately 70 to 80 different online platforms that they distribute to, but we'll cover that off more in the course. They print and sell locally and globally. All the compensation is paid for every sale, depending on what your percentage is that you allocate. And what we'll do is cover that off in that particular lesson about pricing your book and about compensation. Ingram can track all your sales via your Ingram dashboard. They offer a print-on-demand service, which is amazing. So print-on-demand means that your books are no longer sitting there in boxes. As soon as an order goes in, that book is printed. You don't need to wait for 10 books to be ordered. If one book is ordered on one day, that will be then printed on that day or the next day, and then it will be organized to be distributed out. Ingram offers paperbacks, hardbacks, and ebooks, and in a wide variety of choices and trim sizes. So it really is a wonderful way to be able to get everything you need together in the one place for a self-publisher. And there's many different features that I'll be talking further through throughout the course, but these are just a few highlighted elements of IngramSpark that I wanted to bring to your attention before we progress any further. There are plenty of features you can access with IngramSpark.com before having to create an account. But once you decide that you're ready to create and publish your books with IngramSpark and upload them, you will need to create an account. Now, your account will allow you to gain access to the IngramSpark dashboard along with receiving payments. Now, you'll need to access that by going to the link, which is linked up just above, but I'm also going to jump on the website in a moment and show you where you need to do that. But you'll need to be well prepared and advise you, or I advise you to make sure that you have everything ready, including your tax information. For example, if you're in the United States, your TIN, if you're in Australia, your tax file number, or details that will allow you to publish. Now, in Australia, for example, you might need to get an ABN or a business number, and that's something you'll need to apply for, which is free of charge through the Australian Taxation Department. In America, there might be a couple of subtle differences, but when you go and create your account, it is quite straightforward. So let me show you where you need to go on the website to create your account. When you go to the IngramSpark website, which is IngramSpark.com, what you need to do is go across to the top here where it says Create an Account. So you click there, and then you can start filling in the details, and that will then progress you through. What you need to do is push Create Account, and then that's the point where you need to fill in your address details, your tax information, and that will allow you to establish your account. You'll also receive a special ID number or a customer reference number, and that can be used when you're having communication through to IngramSpark as well, because they usually require this number if you make a certain inquiry about your account and you need them to investigate something. So that's where you need to go to set up an account. It's quite easy to establish. Just make sure you're well prepared before you get onto the platform with your tax information so you can enter that when you go through it. It's important we talk about the huge ability to be able to distribute your book across the globe using IngramSpark. It's an amazing way to be able to get your book into the hands of more customers. So let's have a bit of a deeper dive into the distribution opportunities available with Ingram. Now, you must remember that IngramSpark isn't like a traditional publisher. They won't be representing you as a publisher, but what they do allow you to do is create your books and upload them to their platform, which gives you access to over 40,000 different ways to connect your books to the customer. And that's through libraries and retailers in person and online across the world. So they act as a middleman, I guess you'd say. You create the books, you upload them to the platform. Ingram will then give you the opportunity of being able to print off your books, but also have them as print on demand available to schools, to universities, to libraries, book and mortar stores, and online platforms who can then purchase your book through print on demand and have it delivered directly to their door. So that's the massive advantage that Ingram has across the whole publishing network compared to many, many others. So it's a wonderful platform to be part of. Here I'm going to highlight some key features. So indie authors will have access to one of the publishing industry's largest global print and ebook distribution networks in the world. The next biggest would be Amazon KDP, but there are quite a few things where IngramSpark, or what they offer, is quite different to Amazon KDP, and I'll cover that in a future lesson. With Ingram's print-on-demand service, a retailer can order a physical title through Ingram, and the order prints, ships, and arrives to the customer, store, or library within a few days. IngramSpark makes distribution for self-publishers even more expansive by granting access to Ingram's global online and print distribution partners. So they're located in the United States and Canada, United Kingdom and Europe, Australia and New Zealand, and there's further distribution channels that are being created, such as in India as well. So that's important to know and gives you a clear understanding of the power that IngramSpark has for the distribution of your books. As of the 1st of May 2023, the $49 upload fee has now been waived. Previously, it did cost you $49 to upload a print and ebook, print book only, and $25 for an ebook. So this is fantastic news for those that might already have a book on Amazon KDP, but have been reluctant to upload the book to Ingram due to the $49 fee. Now remember, you also need to purchase your ISBN, which I'll be covering off in a later lesson. However, you do now have the opportunity of uploading for free, and this is fantastic news. One thing for consideration though, what you do need to keep in mind that if you wanted to make a change to your manuscript, then you still need to pay a fee of $25 if after the first 60 days you make a change. Up until the first 60 days, you can then do a change for free, but once that time elapses, you will then be charged the $25. So great news for IngramSpark publishers or those that have previously been on Ingram and had to pay the $49 fee. That is now waived. What you should know about ISBNs. So let me cover some information because it is important to have a good understanding of what an ISBN is, how it impacts you, how to get an ISBN, and the cost associated with them as well. So what is an ISBN? The unique ISBN is a 13-digit number assigned to every published book. So you can see on the top right hand side here, this is the ISBN, which would sit at the back of the book. It's an international identifier for books, so that's why you need an ISBN. The barcode holds the vital information about the book, and this includes the title, the language, the edition, publisher, and technical aspects of the book. So in the United States, you can get ISBNs through Bowker.com. In Australia, you can get them through Thorpe Bowker. In the United Kingdom, you can get them through Nielsen. In Canada, you can actually get ISBNs for free. But let's have a look at a few other things to consider about an ISBN. Now, I apologise for the writing. There's quite a bit here, but I needed to include this so you get a comprehensive view of why you need an ISBN for your title. So an ISBN improves the likelihood your book will be found and purchased. An ISBN links to essential information in your book as well, and most retailers require your ISBN so they can link it on their catalogue. The ISBN conveys no legal or copyright protection, so just know that. And you do need an ISBN in some countries by law. In some countries, a book will be charged a higher tax if it does not have an ISBN, and ISBNs are the global standard for book identification. So how many ISBNs do you actually need? Well, you'll need one for each edition of your book. So paperback, hardback. You don't always need them for ebooks, but I would encourage you to do that. The ISBN identifies the publisher as well as the specific book title, edition, and format. What do they cost? So they can be as high as $125 per ISBN, but they are much cheaper when purchased in bulk. You can actually purchase your ISBNs through your Ingram account, through your dashboard, but I've personally gone through Thorpe Bowker in Australia to purchase mine, but ensure that you only purchase your ISBNs through an official ISBN agency in your respective country. So I did purchase a bulk amount, and it saved me around about 60 to 70% based on my purchase of 100 ISBNs. Now I'm still working through those ISBNs. I've got a lot of them there, but I just know over the long term, even if it takes me the next 2 to 3 years, then I'll be able to use them up and they don't expire. So it can be a huge saving from $125 per ISBN to around about $5.75 if you buy them in bulk. So Ingram do offer free ISBNs to United States residents when uploading. So you can find out more by visiting www.ingramspark.com/free-ISBNs. So just regarding the free ISBNs for US residents, there will be an imprint listed as IndiePub. So it won't have your own publishing name there. And any title with a free ISBN must be placed in the wholesale distribution program, and it can't be transferred to another account. It can't be used on other platforms like KDP or Blurb or BookBaby, etc. And you can have a look for other information if you visit the IngramSpark website about free ISBNs. And remember, some promo codes can't be used in conjunction with a free ISBN. So that's another consideration as well if you're using the free ISBN rather than purchasing your own. As I said, I purchased my own. I bought them in bulk. I bought them maybe 2 years ago, and I'm still working through that batch of 100 ISBNs. Still got a long way to go, but it saved me a significant amount of money by buying them all in bulk at one time. This is a lesson that you'll need to pay particular attention to because it may impact your choice of whether IngramSpark will be right for your publishing. Now, there are types of books that are only permitted by IngramSpark. Amazon KDP do permit many different sorts of books, and they have very low barrier to entry. But IngramSpark is a catalog integrity unit that checks to ensure your books meet the minimum requirements for their titles. So you need to ensure your book meets the requirements before purchasing an ISBN and spending money on the upload fee. For example, no content books are not permitted. Some, but not all, forms of low content books are permitted. So let's have a look at the ones down here. So a primary composition notebook for kids would not be permitted. A long form book, such as a 30,000 word book like The Habit Switch, would be permitted. Ollie and Ted, The Beach Adventure, which is a children's picture story book, would be permitted. And The Camping Explorer, which is a journal full of maps and information and has a lot of information and value in it, would be considered as being suitable. But if this was a blank journal, then no. The answer that IngramSpark would give you is that it doesn't meet their catalog integrity specifications. But let's have a look a bit further at the communication that they released in 2020 to try and clean up IngramSpark so it didn't become like Amazon KDP with so many low quality books that are just clogging up the system. So there's a couple of blog posts that IngramSpark have provided, and these are the two on the left hand side. that I would definitely recommend that you look into. Now, if you just wrote Catalog Integrity Guidelines into Google, you will find it. Now, let's have a look here in regards to the Catalog Integrity Guidelines. So, summaries, workbooks, abbreviations, or similar type content without permission from the original author are not permitted. Content containing material amounts of blank pages like notepads, scratchbooks, journals, or similar type are not permitted. Content that mirrors particular titles, including without limiting similar covers, cover design, title, author names, are not permitted. Content that is misleading or likely to cause confusion by the buyer, including without limiting inaccurate descriptions and cover art, is not permitted. Content listed as price is not reflective of the book's market value, so if you're trying to overcharge for a book, that is not permitted part of it. Content scanned from the original version is not permitted. Content created using automated means or mass-produced processes, so looking at repeating the same manuscript over and over and using bulk upload processes. Content that is duplicated across titles in the same format in multiple trim sizes. So if you had the one book, use the same interior and the same cover, but just try to amend the different cover sizes, is not permitted. Other information here is public domain content may be free to use by anyone or maybe licensed for use by more than one party. Now, I'll let you read through the rest, point 9 and point 10, but it gives you a very good idea about what you can and what you cannot upload to IngramSpark. And as I've mentioned, it is so important to check this before you publish to IngramSpark and before you pay an upload fee or an ISBN fee, because if your book gets rejected, you won't get a refund for that. So it could be worth making some further inquiries to IngramSpark, to the customer team, if you're just not quite sure whether the book you're thinking about creating will meet their catalog integrity unit. So that was an important lesson. Please consider those elements that are contained here, and therefore you have a much clearer idea about what's acceptable and what's not. So in this lesson, I want to talk about the different trim size options that you have. Now, trim size, you could think about it as your book cover size. So the trim size will determine the size of your manuscript as well. Now, there are lots of different options for your hardback, paperback, and ebook using IngramSpark. In fact, there's around about 25 different paperback options you've got, approximately 20 hardback options that you can choose from. So there's really a size for everybody that you can use. Now, what we need to do is to go through some further details about what trim sizes are available, and I'll be referring to the IngramSpark website, which also goes through the different trim sizes and the different printing options that you have when you do publish with IngramSpark. So I'm just on the IngramSpark website at the moment, and this provides a great deal of information about your binding and paper options. So we're looking at different paper thicknesses. It's called a GSM, and you can either have it in cream or white. You can have thicker paper as well, depending on if it's an illustrated book or whether it's a plain written book. You've also got color printing or black and white. You've got your hardcover or your paperback. Many book trim sizes, so we'll cover that soon. And remember, it is what they call print on demand, so they're never out of stock. They can also help with your shipping worldwide, and there's no need to store unsold copies as well. So let's have a little bit more of a look at the different trim sizes that we have available, plus some other information. And so what I've decided to do is provide you with 3 examples of different book sizes that I have. So the 5x8 typically is what I use for my longer form books, say 30,000 word books. So Magnetic Goals is a 5x8. Sam and Ted Visit the Doctor is an 8.5 by 8.5, so fairly big, but it suits the audience. And I've also had premium color for this book. And then we've got my mum's life journal, which is 8.5 by 11. And that's because there are sections where the mother would be filling in details, so I needed to make it a bit bigger so it was a bit easier to include photos and things like that as well. Now what we'll do is have a look at the different trim sizes that are available both in hardback and paperback. So let's jump into that now, and with the help of the IngramSpark website I'll be able to show you all of those different trim sizes that are available. So firstly, let's look at the ink qualities that are provided with IngramSpark. So you have the black and white printing, which is the most economical, and that's printed on the 5-ounce 74 GSM paper in cream or white. You've got the standard color printing, so they also do premium. You can choose what is going to be best for you depending on if you have illustrations, photographs, paintings, anything like that were inside your book. Paper color and weights, so you've got different weights available depending on the different kinds of paper that you might wish to choose. I tend to choose a cream paper for my longer form books, but a white paper for my shorter form books. Let's go down further to the book trim sizes that are available. So these are the paperback. So you can see how it actually goes to be quite small, a 4 by 6 inch. But to collectively, how many would there be? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's around about 30, roughly 30 different trim sizes they have available for paperback books. Then you can also look at hardcover books. There's a few less in the hardcovers, but they do cover many of the popular size like 6 by 9, a 7 by 10. I do my kids book in an 8.5 by 8.5, and you've also got the size that you might have for larger journals, so that's 8.5 by 11. So you can see there's plenty of different options there. Standard color books, they're the options you have, and also the premium color books, they're the options you have available there. So I'll leave the link for this in the assignment document that you'll receive for this course, and that will cover off all of these different sizes that you can actually use and refer to before you start creating your book, so you know what sizes they permit. So you can see there's some different information here that we'll go through later about how much does it cost to print a book, and we'll use that calculator and I'll show you how to use that so you know what it's going to cost for Ingram, and then we can also work out our royalties as part of that calculation. So that wraps up the different kinds of book trim sizes, and remember the trim size is your book cover size, front and back, but it also dictates the page sizes within your book. So if you've got a 6 by 9 inch book, then your cover, your front and your back will be a 6 by 9, and your internal manuscript pages will also be 6 by 9. So hopefully that helps regarding the different options that are available for IngramSpark in your paperback, your hardback, and we'll discuss ebooks later. Of course, there's not going to be really much choice in regards to ebooks, but you can have lots of choices for your paperback and your hardcover, depending on what color you also wanted, if you want to do standard or premium. Welcome to the lesson about compensation and being paid by IngramSpark. Well, this is an important one for most of us because we want to know when we're going to get paid and how we get paid. Now, there's a few things that people need to be aware of about getting paid by IngramSpark. So let me just go into an example right now to help you get an understanding of how that occurs. So when you first created your account with IngramSpark, you would have included details such as your residence and your tax information, your bank account information, and other details that would allow IngramSpark to pay you. Now, payment terms with IngramSpark form part of a 90-day cycle from when you have your book sales to when you actually get paid. Now, let me try and clarify for you how that process works so it's a bit clearer, because some people think that if they sell a book in January, that at the end of January they should get paid. But it is actually a 90-day process for that to occur. Let me give you an example right now. So let me talk through a book called Job Launch that I've got. So the publisher compensation is paid within 90 days from the report date following the end of the month. What does that mean? Okay. So throughout January, as an example, 10 books of Job Launch were sold. So my author compensation totaled $30.45. Now that was based on what my book price is, and then there's printing costs. But overall, the compensation that I would receive after all those costs are taken out is a royalty of $30.45. Therefore, the payment of $30.45 would be received at the end of April, approximately the 28th of the month. It's around about the 28th or the 30th of the month. Sometimes it's a little bit earlier. So therefore, from January the 1st to the 31st, I sold 10 books in the month. But because IngramSpark pay 90 days after that period, that would start from the 1st of February. Therefore, at the conclusion of April, the $30.45 is paid. So that's where a bit of confusion sometimes lies. People have sold books and then they're not sure where their payment is. Well, it's because you have to wait 90 days from the end of the month when you sold your books for that payment cycle to start, and you get paid at the conclusion of that 90 days. So hopefully that clarifies that a little bit more for those of you that have been using IngramSpark, or for those that are looking at using IngramSpark, because the problem is you first start your books, you sell a few books, but then you have to wait. Like if you started your books in January, you'd have to wait till the conclusion of April before you actually receive that initial payment. Now, because I've been with Ingram for a while, because I'm getting paid now, I get a payment every month just because that cycle's caught up with itself. So I get a payment every month, but I'm still having to wait that 90 days from the end of that cycle to get paid, if that makes sense. And this is just a snapshot of my compensation on my dashboard for a month. So it's in Australian dollars. If I received the compensation, that would show on the dashboard. I'm going to go through the dashboard a little bit more in detail in a future lesson. But once you find out how much you've been paid or the compensation for the month, you receive an email. And that will say that you've received $30.45 for the month of January. But the payment won't be received until April of that year. You'll receive the email just like this that will tell you how much you're getting paid for each of the respective countries or the printing locations. So I get payments from the United States, from the UK in Great British Pound, and also I get paid in Australian dollars from the Australian part of IngramSpark. So I actually receive 3 different payments at the end of the month or the end of that 90-day period, as long as my books sell in those locations. But I will go into more detail about the dashboard and how that works. But just know that you get paid 90 days at the conclusion of your selling period of those books. You receive an email at the end of the month to tell you how many books you've sold across each of the respective areas. And you also receive like an email that will tell you how much you've been paid for that particular month near the end of the month. You usually receive that email around about the 23rd, 24th of the month, saying that you can expect to receive your payment of $30.45, for example, in the next few days, and that will arrive directly into your bank account. Welcome to this lesson. I want to cover the IngramSpark dashboard. Now, Ingram has recently made some changes to the dashboard, and there will be some slight changes going forward regarding the reporting. There's a traditional form of reporting which I'll show you, but that will be phased out at the end of 2022. There's still some changes that are likely to happen, but for now, this is the dashboard, and I'll get onto my dashboard and show you a few key features. So let me sign in right now. So to begin with, I go to the login page, your credentials and details are in, and I simply log in. And then the dashboard will show just some key highlights of the last 30 days and different units that might have sold during that last 30 days. Now what we're going to do now is click on titles. So if we click here, this will then take us to the page where it contains all of our information from all the books that we might have uploaded. Now if you're new to IngramSpark, then you may not have any information here at all. But if you have published a few books through IngramSpark before, then your titles will be sitting here, and you can actually do a sort. If you click just on this bit just here, you can actually do a sort based on the title, author, the status, the ISBN, the format, so you can do different searches. So if I went just here and I did habit switch, then it would bring up the two forms of the habit switch. So I've got my case laminate and my perfect bound book. Now I can also go in here and I can change details around. So if this book has already been published, then I can place an order. I can do an author order. And so that would be clicking here, and then that would take me a page to a page where I can then enter different details. So I'll just click off this, and it's got my address details, so return to or ship to. Then I've also got the location where it's going to be located to, so I can do the US, UK, or Australia. Then it's got the different economy types, how many I want to do, and there's also got the number of orders as well, and how much it's going to be. So you can order different books via this tab. You can also do it via orders right here on the left hand side. So let's go back again, and if I just wanted to go to, so the perfect bound is what we call a paperback. If I want to go and click here, I can actually edit the title as well. Revise files, so I can upload new file types if I wanted to upload and change the cover, or I wanted to change the manuscript. You click here and you would upload a new file. Now I won't do this because there is a charge of $25 each time I change the manuscript or I change the cover, but you can do it there. You can place the order as you did before, but edit title. So if we go to edit title, this will bring up the information about the habit switch. So I've got the print information here, but initially I've got my print details. So I've got my details here. I've got my biography, and I've got the subject title, the subject types, and then I've also got the description of it, and then I've got all the different bits and pieces that I need to include, including reviews that might have happened as well. So if I scroll all the way back up here and I go to print information, I can then see the different sizes. So this is a 5.25 by 8 trim size. It's got the black and white cream, 184 pages. It's got my ISBN and the carton number. It's got the spine width and the weight. Then if I go down here, it's got the pricing. So at the moment, these are the details that I've got set. Now I'll go through pricing in another lesson, and I'll outline why there's a 55% discount and why I've got it set to return, yes, destroy. And the compensation is here for each book that I sell. You've also got any promo codes that might have been used at that point in time, and the release date as well. Now you can change the print pricing. So if I wanted to change this, I would go edit, and if your price appears on your cover file, a change in price may also be required to revise the cover. So I understand that. I don't have a price on my cover. So I scroll down and you can click on the effective dates. So I'm going to do the 7th, the 8th. So if I change this to $16.99, let's do this to $14.99. I'll change this to $99, and I like to sort of keep this the same as the US, the United States, then it will highlight in yellow all the changes. I will go through this in more detail later about our pricing options, but you can see the compensation that is here. Now, Canada doesn't appear, but because the printing is done in the United States. However, I always match it pretty similar to Australia. There is a little bit of a difference in the currency price conversion, but it's not too different for me to get a bit of an idea. So I tend to list the same price with Canada as I do with Australia. So that's how you do that. And then what I do is go back up here and click Save. Now, these new prices will be effective on the 7th of August 2022. So that's when that change would occur for this book. So that's how you that's how you use your dashboard to just edit details about it. So you can upload new files. You can generate what they call an e-proof. So I can actually get a copy of my my book and in a PDF version. So I can actually have a look through that to make sure everything that I need in that is ready to go. So I think it's that'll either email that to me or it'll appear as a download. Generally, it does email it to me, so then I can get that and I can check over what my book is like. Let's go back to the dashboard though and some more details just to have a look at over. So we can change the details here with the titles. Let's just go back home for the moment. And now this is where we've got the new reports tab. So you've got classic, which is the current reporting or the old-fashioned reporting, and we've got new. We might go to classic first because this is going to be phased out at the end of 2022. So you can see here, all report functionality found below will be retired as the 31st of December 2022. So if we can look at our ebook sales report. For this example, what I'm going to do is show you the print sales report. So if I click here, print sales report, this will give me an idea of any books that are sold during a particular time. So let's go to, let's set it to last period. Just waiting for it to set. If it doesn't set, let's just go last 2 periods. And we might change that to, go back to June. Right there. And then I go down and I've got the US print area, currency, US dollars. Unclick that button there. We just want print on demand and we're doing a screen display. Now you can also get it delivered by email in Adobe or in Excel as well. And you can plug in your details here. But for the moment, we're just going to submit this and then this will now generate the report for us. So this will bring up all the book sales for that month. So if I have scrolled down, I can see the books that have been sold during this period of time. And then it's also got your compensation and it's also got any returns that might have happened as well. And that's the traditional kind of reporting that Ingram will provide you. Now you can generate a new report and then you can go straight back into it and you can enter a certain date range as well. You might want to change it to the UK, but when you do the UK, unclick that box, go pounds sterling, and then print on demand, unclick that one, and then you can do screen display and then submit again. And the same report will come up, but just for the UK this time. You can do the same for Australia. But let's go to the new reporting because that's what's more likely going to be relevant for you moving forward. Let's go to Reports New. So the Reports New tab will bring up a lot of different information. It'll provide for a certain period of time where your books are selling. So last 7 days, I'm going to change this to last 90 days. And my majority of my sales are coming from the US and some from Australia, the UK, many different parts of the world. It's actually quite fascinating to see. It's also got different units that was sold, or the different print bestsellers that was sold at different times of the year. And it also provides you with a sales at a glance year to date. You've also got the percentage of sales by subject, and that's just over the last 7 days. Let's change that to 90 days. So the majority of my books that are in family and relationships are selling the most at 44%, juvenile non-fiction 18%, education 16%, and others 21%. And I can actually print off a full report here, and I've got my sales, again, year at glance. And then what you can also do is go to the sales of the different books. So if we click on sales, then this will go into more detail about the sales, about the print, digital prints, and also sales by region. If we go to titles, then you can actually export and generate a report based on the metadata for your books. So you can do one here, or market pricing export. Compensation, this is one that you'd probably be interested in. So what you would do if we want to change up different recent sales history, you can do that as well. So at the moment, total paid compensation was $839, but then you've also got estimated unpaid compensation that is coming through, and you can also scroll along to different parts of the world, be it Australia, the United Kingdom, and the US. You've got now my payments are in Australian dollars. Yours, of course, may be in US dollars, Canadian dollars, wherever you are around the world. So that's the compensation. And then you've also got transactions. Now, transactions will be for any books that you might have purchased, and therefore that'll be the transactions that you've got. So they're books that you might have ordered through your author page. So if you go to titles and did your orders, then that's where this will show as well. So if we go to orders down here, we can also do a search for different books, and we can do it by title, the ISBN, the dates, and you've got all your different books as well. You've got any pending or submitted that you've done. You can also go to your marketing tab. Now the marketing tab, they do have an offer through IngramSpark, and I'll talk about this later in a future lesson. They do call it an iPage listing. I will give you what my thoughts are about this during that lesson, but just know there is some marketing that is available through IngramSpark. Under tools and resources, you can find a lot of helpful information here about file creation guides, cover template generators, PDF checklists, EPUB guidelines, pricing and services calculators, compensation calculators, and print and ship calculators. So if we want to go to the print and ship calculator, then this would then bring up the information. So we'd include the ISBN, the trim sizes, what size it is, and all we need to do is include those details, which are in the box just here, where it's shipping to, and then we do calculate. And it's got some very handy calculators. In a future lesson, we'll also use one of these calculators to organize or to look at our compensation. So that is a good summary of the dashboard, because it is new and there's a lot of different things that you need to be aware of. You can go to the help and you can find out all the different areas about distribution and title setup and marketing, ordering and ebooks. There's different questions there about catalog integrity, and you can cross-check as well with anything that you need help with. Your dashboard should be able to cover everything that you need to know. So if we just go home again, we can also go to the tab. I'll just wait for it to show up. You can also go up here and make it narrower, or we can make it wider just by doing that. And you can also see quick links down here too. And there is some more information on your dashboard down below. Now, it would take probably 2 hours to provide a full overview of this dashboard, because there's a lot of different things. But for me, I think that I've provided some basic information which you need to know as a starting publisher on IngramSpark. but just by playing around with a few things, you'll get some more knowledge about this dashboard. But remember that the classics will be phased out at the end of 2022, so you'll need to get familiar with the new reporting that I showed you before. So that's a look at the dashboard for IngramSpark. In this lesson, I want to cover off a few of the calculators that are available via IngramSpark. One of the important ones is getting your template generated as well. So that is the cover template generator here. You've also got the pricing and calculators, which is available on the right hand side there of your dashboard. But what I'm going to first focus on is the cover template generator. Now you can use this when you want to get the template for putting your front and back cover on. Now there's a few different techniques that you can use. I've always used Canva to create my front and back covers, but you can also use other tools like InDesign as well, or many different design platforms, whatever you choose. However, I'm probably just going to show you what I'm familiar with, and to create these templates though, there's a few little things that I might give you hints on that might be able to help you out during that process. So firstly, let's do the cover template generator. And I'm going to use an example of an 8.5 by 8.5 children's illustrated picture book at 32 pages. So you need to assume that you've done your manuscript and you know how many pages you've done, and you've also got the size of the book that you want. Therefore, you can use the cover template generator to create a PDF template for you, and then I actually use Canva with that template. But I also need to use another tool, another calculator outside of IngramSpark. And maybe I haven't found the right calculator on IngramSpark. Maybe it's there and I haven't quite located it, but there is another calculator that I use that I've found to be very, very handy. So let me go through that process right now. So I've now reverted onto my actual dashboard, cover template generator. Now what I'm going to do here is actually log in to start with. Go into my account. It's been a bit of time since I've been in the account. Now I need to add the 13-digit ISBN that I want to use for that particular book. And I've also got to include the trim size. So let me add the 13-digit ISBN. I'll just got to go and find it. And I've now located that ISBN. The trim size, you can select the trim size that is appropriate to you. In my instance, I'm using 8.5 by 8.5. It is color. You can choose the black and white. So it's just a matter of selecting each of these as you go through. Color, premium color, got the paperback and the perfect bound. Then we've got our gloss cover, which is the book that I'm using. The page count is 32, so I've entered this detail already. Your book might be 180 pages, but my book is 32 pages. I'm going to use PDF. You can choose InDesign if you want. I just use PDF. Email address, I'm going to enter my email address, and don't worry about the price or currency, and then I'll push submit. Now when I've entered my email address, it will actually be delivered to my email address in a PDF format. So I'm going to send that through now, and I'll show you what it looks like in your inbox and how you can use it from that point. So the PDF is ready to go. So that's the template right here. So if we open this up, I've got the template. Now what I want to do is use this template. Now it'll provide a barcode on the back. It's interesting that they put it in the middle because every single book that I've ever created through Ingram have actually placed it on the bottom right hand corner. But it's worthwhile just ensuring that you don't have your cover, when you place your cover, over the top of that barcode, because it will be rejected and you need to do it again. But what I normally do from here is use another calculator so I can use this template in Canva. So I'll show you what that calculator is and how to locate it. And this is the first website called BookOwl. What you do, ignore the KDP cover template generator because Ingram have provided our template already. We're going to scroll all the way down here to the cover size calculator. Now, even though it says KDP, the same dimensions are going to be provided for our paperback. So trim size, we are using 8.5 by 8.5, and the page count is 32. It's already there. We are using color, and we do calculate cover size. This will provide the dimensions. We need the width and the height for Canva. Now I'll show you what I mean. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight that number there, going to Canva, and where it says custom size, I'm going to make sure it's in inches, the width, and go to the height, and we go back here, and we go create new design. So this will provide, this is where the front cover is going to be on the right hand side, and on the left hand side will be the back cover. We need to get our template here. I'm just going to do a screenshot and then go back to Canva. So let me do the screenshot now, and I just did Control Paste on the template. Now what I'm going to do is reduce this in. So I'm going to zoom it up, and I'm going to bring this in right onto that blue line. Just there, right there. Then what we need to do is zoom back out. We need to go to Position, go Middle and Center. Now what I'm going to do is stretch it right to the corners. Right there, right there. There we go. So I can now use this template knowing where I can include writing, because the pink area is the safe area, the blue area, where it just says here, all background should extend throughout the blue and pink areas. So if I was to add the Sam and Ted book front cover and back cover, I'll show you how I need to fit that to this actual template size. Now I'll go over quickly because there's another lesson that I actually cover it in more detail. So I've now got Sam and Ted, so what I need to do is quickly just position the front cover there. I go all the way up down to the lines, bring it to the middle. Now I need to make sure there's no writing that goes into the pink area. So just do that. And then you can see the middle section here, which is the spine. Again, I'll bring it to the middle, which is approximately there. Bring it up to the corners, or down to the corners. Bring it to the middle, up there. And then I'm positioned. So if I was to scroll back here, you can see where the center of the spine is. I can actually make that spine, once I get rid of the template, which is important, I've left with the middle, which is the spine. I can always do the background just by going to here, use the color tapper, and I'm going to do that middle right there. Now I need to make sure that I'm extending this all the way to the end. So you can see that. Then what I'd do is simply go to Share. I'd go to Download. I want to do a PDF, and then I download. Now that will come up as a document that I can use, my PDF document, which is this one just here. So if I click on this in a moment, that will then bring up the cover for me, and I can then use that for uploading to IngramSpark. So that's that area there. So what I want to do is actually show you some other calculators as well, but I will go into more detail about the front cover formatting for IngramSpark in a lesson that's coming up in a moment. The other calculator I wanted to bring to your attention was actually the Amazon KDP calculator. Now, no, it's not associated with IngramSpark. However, it will still provide you with the right dimensions for your book. And what you need to do is go to kdp.amazon.com/en_US/cover-calculator, just at the top here. So you use it the same way. If we're doing paperback, interior type premium, we'll do paper type white paper. Page turn direction, we go left to right. Measurement units, we're using inches. Interior trim size, we're going to be using 8.5 by 8.5, and we do the 32 pages. Calculate the dimensions, and there we have it. Put the cover there, so the width and the height. And they're the same dimensions as we're using with BookOwl. So that's another way you can actually use it. So they're the two different calculators you can use for your cover templates. You can use the BookOwl, and then you can use Canva, but you can also use the KDP calculator as well. Now, the next thing we need to do is go back onto the other calculators that we're using under Tools and Resources. So I'm back onto the website under my my own personal account. So what I'm now going to do is go to the compensation calculator. This is where we can work out what our author compensation is going to be. You don't have to fill in the ISBN here. Trim size, you can do whatever you want. So if we had a 6x9 inch book, it was a black and white, we're going to go for cream paper, we're going to go paperback, we're going to go perfect bound. The laminate type, we're going to do a matte. Page count, or duplex cover, don't worry about that, we go no. Page count, let's do 180 pages. The list price, if we say $17.99. Wholesale discount, I'm going to do 50%, and I'll cover the pricing later in one of the next lessons. And the market in the United States, calculate, and this will tell us that our compensation, once all charges are taken into consideration, will be $5.20. So that's how the calculator works. You can plug in the details of your book that you're going to create or you have created, so you know what the different publisher compensations are going to be. So that's a great way of using this tool. Let's just go back for one last calculator, which we're going to look at, and this is the print and ship calculator. So if we go here, again, you don't need to enter the ISBN. You can do all these things again. So let's just go for the same one. We'll go, let's go a 7x10 this time. We're going to do black and white, white there, paperback, perfect bound. We're going to do a matte, page count, or we'll just do no for that one. So a duplex cover means that you can print on the inside cover of your paperback book. So it's just on the inside. We're not going to do that today. Page count, we're going to just get rid of that. We're going to go 180 pages. Quantity, we're just going to do 1. Ship to Australia for me. Province, we're going to go where is New South Wales. New South Wales. Ship to postcode. Actually, we'll go 2001. Printing location, we're going Australia dollars. Calculate. Then we can do the different costs here. So if we did economy, express, so you just have a use of those, and then it gives you the cost. But if you did 1 and we left it on these, it would be $20. Now if we did 5 and we had a calculation, it would be $60. So it'll tell you the unit selling price, but where the costs come into it is the shipping and the taxes, and there's a handling fee. So that's why it adds up to that. But that's the way you use that calculator for the print and the ship. And there's other resources you can use on here as well. But the main calculators are these two, plus the cover template generator, which you might like to use as well for your book creation. And welcome to this lesson about formatting your hardback or your hardcover book. Formatting your hardback is a little trickier than trying to create your paperback book. The process of creating your paperback is a lot more simplified. There are certain tools that are available that make things much easier. But for IngramSpark, it can be a little bit more challenging if you haven't done any design or anything like that before. So I'm going to show you the process that I used for my hardback version of the Habit Switch. So that's going to be this one just here. And you can see it in the bottom corner just there. So I'm going to show you the process, and hopefully it will allow you to create your own hardback books. You can always outsource this to a group like Fiverr or someone on a platform that will do this formatting for you. But if you can do it yourself, you might save yourself a little bit of money. Perhaps time-wise, it might be a bit more challenging for the first couple of books you do, but after that, it becomes a lot more easier. So let me run through the process for the book and how I can create the hardback cover and the right format type so you can submit it through to Ingram when you're ready. And this is the hardback cover that I want to try and replicate for you, so you know how to create it, and therefore you'll be able to get your own hardback version of your book if that's what you're willing or wanting to do. Let me go to the first step, and that is to go to the tools and resources again, and when you're going to use the cover template generator. This will give us the option of choosing hardback, and again you will need to have the ISBN number for your cover template generator to work. So no matter if you've published your book or not, my book is already published, so therefore when I put this ISBN, it will generate all the details already. But I'll go through step by step anyway. So I'm just going to put the number in now, and it will bring up all the details because this is a book that I've already published. So you can choose the different size that you've got depending on what hardcover you want. Now with a hardback hardcover, you can see all the different options that you do have for the hardback there. You choose whether it's going to be black and white, whether it's white, cream. You can go to the color. If your book is going to be color, you can choose that as well. We're going for black and white. We go down to here where you have the choice of paperback or hardback. Of course, we're doing the hardback in this lesson. Now you can do a case laminate, which is the same as this one. You can do a jacket case laminate, so that has the dust jacket on it, digital cloth, and blue or digital cloth grey. I've never done those before, so I can't comment on what they look like, but that is an option. Different prices associated with the different kinds of hardback that you do. So I'm going to choose the case laminate here. I'm going to go down, and you can either choose gloss or matte, and this book that I've got is the gloss. I just find the gloss better in hardback just because it's more hard wearing and you can wipe fingerprints off it as well. So I'll go gloss there. Then you include the page count. It needs to be multiples of 2. This book is 184 pages, so I'll leave it there. Actually, I think it's 188. We can do 188. File type, I'm going to do my PDF again, and I'm going to enter my email address. There's no price options that I've done, and it's not compulsory, so I'm just going to leave that, and I'm going to submit that through and get the email again for the template. So let me do that right now. So in my inbox, I've received the template. So I'm going to click on the template, and I'm going to then do a screenshot of that. But firstly, we need to check some different dimensions that are provided here as well. You can see the board width, which we need to include with our template that we're creating on Canva. Now this is a 6:9. What you need to do is we're going to add, instead of doing a 6:9, we're actually going to do 14.4444 multiplied by whatever the width is plus 1.5 inches. Let me give you an exact example of what that's going to look like for this book, which is a 6:9, but we're doing it in the hardback version. So I'm going to go into Canva now and put those calculations in, but this number over here is an important one for us to remember. So I'm now going to head across to Canva and get everything organized. So the first step, like we did with the paperback, is to create our design. We're going to do a custom design, and we're going to use that first number, 14.44, and we need to make sure it inches. 14.44, and if we remember, that was the number which is just here. We might even do the complete thing. So let's go back, and we'll just add one more 4 in, just in case that makes a difference. Now the cover is a 6:9, so with the 9 inches with the height, we need to add 1.5 inches. So now it's going to be 10.5 rather than 9. You just need to add 1.5 inches to whatever the height is of your book. So let's go create new design. Now we've got our main template here, and now we're going to paste the screenshot that we did earlier. So we're going to do that, and I'm just going to trim it up to that line again. So we go to here, right there, move this across to that mark right there. We go all the way down. If you need to make it a bit clearer, you can. We want to make sure that we're getting rid of everything apart from that blue line. We go down just to there. That looks pretty good. Up to there. And now we need to zoom back out, and we're going to go position, center, middle. Now what we need to do is stretch this cover so it goes to the point there, and it goes down to the point there. So we've got that completely covered. You can see a tiny little bit of a white line on here. Now it's going to be fine. We can just do the smallest, narrowest margin ever. There we go. Now what we need to do is put our front and back cover onto this template. So what you'd need to do is go to uploads, and then what you need to do is add your media or your picture. So I'm going to do that right now. So now I've uploaded those two images. So grab the front, and I'm just going to reduce the size a little bit here, and I'm going to drag that down just to the pink line. Pink line right there, then bring it across, and I just want to check where the pink line is. So what I'm aiming to do is to get the book within that pink line and be nice and even. So I might even have to shrink it a bit to there, shrink it a bit to there. What I want to do is make sure it's in the middle, and just do it there, then bring it up there, and just there. I'm going to do the same for the back cover now, and I've got the ISBN barcode there, so I just need to keep that in mind as well when I'm doing this. So I'm going just down to just near the pink, up there, just there, bring it across. Just have a look where the middle is. So I'm going to bring that across to there, back up again, just check where that is. It's right there. Now I'm also going to bring this across because that is where the writing is going to be cut off. So I just need to make sure that it's in the boundary there. So I might need to bring this across a fraction. That should be work perfectly right there. Just there, and I can extend that now, knowing that the writing is inside the pink area. Now what I'm going to do is the color that I've used for this, I want to use for the background. So what I can do is actually, before I do that, if I want to add the middle writing here, so I'm actually just copy this one, and I'm going to paste it right in the middle where I need to. So you can go position, middle and center. What I'm going to now do is I'm going to get rid of the template, but I want to use the background. I'm going to go to this color, plus to the eyedropper, and then I've got the full color of the whole book. Now you can see how this is cut off, but this section here will be trimmed or folded up underneath the book. I'm going to see if I can show you what I mean by that. Let me just bring my camera back on, and if I show you inside here, you can see there's a fold just there. I can run my finger along here. That is what is going to be folded underneath. So if I hold the book up, if I go around to the front, you can see there's a fold just on the top here and around that I need to make sure that I'm allowing for when this book gets created as a hardback book. And so the key things that I need to keep in mind for this cover: I've allowed that extra 1.5 inches. I've used the template with the calculations right here. I've also added a spine if I want the spine. Don't worry about this cutoff section here because that will be folded underneath this whole section around the book. And the last thing I'm going to be doing is make sure that I remove the template, and if I want a background color, I can use the eyedropper to match it to what is already there. The next important thing, if you want to, you can label it into the habit switch hardback cover for Ingram 6x9. So I know. Now what I do is go share. I'm going to download it. I'm going to go to PDF print. I'm going to do this one, and I'm going to, you can, for digital use, you could also use that one. We might just use it for that one for this example, and we go download. Then my PDF will be made available, and we have everything we want. So if we go back a bit, we can see that the cover is perfect here, and there are no white lines or any marks that will cause an issue for this book when it goes through to Ingram to be reviewed. I can download that in the PDF format and it is ready for upload. So that is how to create your hardcover and book and format it correctly for IngramSpark. And welcome to the lesson about your pricing strategy. I'm going to be going through in greater detail the pricing when we do our upload. Now that will be in a future lesson, but I think it's important to cover off a few key elements before we get to that lesson. So when we do get there, you know what I'm referring to. There are three key things that I want to discuss in this lesson before we do move to the upload lesson. Firstly, when you're creating your book price, you have an opportunity to do so during the upload. Now you need to think about the competition for your niche and your market. You need to price your book appropriately. You don't want to be too high, you don't want to be too low, but finding that book price can be tricky. I'd recommend going to sites, for example, like Amazon, and having a look at the different prices. Go to other online stores, bookstores, and have a look at the pricing. What will potentially adjust your pricing will be the page count, the kind of paper you're using. Are you printing in standard black and white, standard color, or a premium color print? Because all of those will influence the pricing that you can print your book or distribute it with IngramSpark. What about if it's paperback or is it hardback? Again, those will dictate the different pricing structures that you'll have and you need to consider. The other thing is when you do upload your book to Ingram, you have what we call a wholesale discount. So this is a discount to retails and it can form a part of a sales strategy. So a wholesale discount is what the for example, let's call it a brick and mortar store. When they get your book, they want a percentage discount so that they can actually make something on the book. Just say you set your price at $15 for your book. You might need to set your wholesale discount at 50%, meaning that your bookstore can buy it for $7.50, but they can then price it at $15 and make money themselves. The highest you can go for the wholesale discount is 55%. Now, Ingram recommend that if your strategy for selling your books through brick and mortar stores is one of your strategies for your book sales, then they recommend 55%. If your strategy is more for online book sales, you can go as low as 35 or even 30%. Getting that structure right can be challenging. I've tried a number of different pricing strategies and it's actually very hard to work out. I've found some books though that I know will be more likely to sell online. So therefore I've structured that pricing at 35%. For those books that I think could make their way into bookstores, I discount them at 55%. This will make more sense when we get to the upload process, but that's just something you need to keep in mind that you will need to discount your book. You can adjust that pricing depending on your strategy. And finally, you will get an option whether you want your book returnable or non-returnable. If you have returnable, it means that if someone purchases your book, being a customer or even a brick and mortar store, and a brick and mortar store have too many and they need to return them, you need to actually cover that cost. If it's a customer and they buy the book, they don't like it, or there's a small tear in it, something has gone wrong, they can also return the book and you have to pay for it. Now you can either have a returnable and a destroy, which means that if a book is returned, Ingram will destroy your book. You can also have an option where it is returnable and delivered back to you, but you need to pay for that shipping price. They're all factors you need to take in consideration. And I've found that I have a number of books, or I've had a number of books that have been returned, and I've had to wear that price across my profitability of my books. Now, I think over selling books now for 2.5 years, 3 years on IngramSpark, my return has been at around about 2%, 3%. So yes, you're going to get that occasionally, but if I'm going to make it attractive for bookstores, I need to set the higher discount price. So let me show you, if I had an existing book and I wanted to adjust the pricing, I'll show you that. But when we do the upload process, I'll set the fees and show you what you need to look for. But let me just show you how adjusting the pricing can affect what you get as an author for your compensation. Now, there's also a publisher compensation calculator. We'll have a look at that in a moment as well. So let's get into the dashboard and I'll show you how adjusting the price can impact the author compensation for you. So here I'm on the dashboard with an existing book, and you can actually go in to adjust the pricing. What you need to do, you need to determine what that pricing is going to be to give you the publishing compensation that you need, but also make it a book that is attractive for customers and even bookstores to hold. You can also have your strategy for online retailers. Now it'll give you United States, United Kingdom, European Union, Canada, Australia, and Global Connect. Now with the retail pricing, I can set it, so just say I set it for $14, and I have a wholesale discount of 55%. Now you can adjust this. You can make it down to 30 if you wanted to, if it allows me to go down. Let's have a look and see what it goes down to. It must be between 30 and 55%. So if we have 30%, then the compensation is going to be $4.51. So there, that's quite a good compensation, but it's not going to be attractive for wholesale bookstores to actually hold. At 30%, they're not going to be making that much. So if I lift that to 50%, then this will change and I get $1.71. So there's a significant difference with that. If you look at the compensation, we'll look at the wholesale discount. It says to ensure bookstores receive their expected trade discount when they buy from Ingram, consider offering a 55% wholesale discount. The wholesale discount you offer is what distribution channels receive for selling your title and is not the discount end customers receive. So you have the option of seeing a discount with the range of 30% being the minimum up to 55%. So you need to consider that. The return options. So you've got non-returnable, yes, deliver. I'll go through this a bit more when we do the upload process, but just know that you can have an option for the book to be returned, or you can have it so that it can actually be destroyed by Ingram, so you don't wear the cost of them sending it back to you. You can go and adjust these prices. We need to make sure that we're getting a fair compensation, but also making it attractive for bookstores. This is quite a personal choice, and it's a strategy you need to think carefully about because it can impact the long-term profitability of your book, but also you need to give your book every opportunity of being found. If that is a bookstore, then that's the pricing strategy you need to go for. If you pretty much think that book sales are going to be more online for you, then choose the lower option of around about 35%. You've got the different marketplaces. Most of my book sales are the United States, and I'll get a few that come through from Australia and Canada. I am starting to see a different change in book sales through India. So you can set your price with Global Connect. That will be to many different parts of the world that Ingram actually distribute to. Now these are the different things that you should consider for your pricing. There's no one formula that will suit everyone's book. It is a personal choice. Some books work better online. Some books are better in brick and mortar stores. One thing you can use is the IngramSpark calculator. I'll go to the calculator so you can actually find out the difference in author compensation you will receive based on the discount and your book price. What I'll do is add some details in here. I'm not going to use the ISBN. I'm going to do a typical book, let's just say typical children's picture storybook that I might be using for the upload lesson. We're going to do color, and I'm going to do standard color. Binding type, I'm going to do paperback, perfect bound. Page count is going to be 42. List price, I'm going to go $14.99. Wholesale discount, I'm going to set that at 50%. Market is United States. Okay, it's not letting me do this. Oh, here we go. We need to go gloss. Let's just go 40. And let's try it again. So the publisher compensation is going to be $3.90. Is $14.99 competitive for the book that I'm offering? Perhaps I need to go to $12.99 to make it competitive at 50%. Calculate that. I'm going to receive $2.90 in publisher compensation. That is quite reasonable. And if you think you're going to be selling quite a few books, then that will add up, particularly if your book's going to be around for the next 10 years. You need to come up with a strategy that is going to work. You need to choose what is the right strategy, depending if it's paperback and hardback. Some hardback books that I have, I just don't think I can be competitive enough to create a hardback because of the pricing I need to create to even make anything. Because if we had this at $14.99 for a hardback in gloss, I would be making a negative 92 cents. So if I need to make that $17.99, and I make 58 cents only, that's where it's starting to get quite high. And that's where creating a hardback can sometimes cause challenges. So at $18.99, you're wondering if customers would buy a 40-page children's book for $18.99 US, because I would be making $1.08. Use the calculator to determine your book. If we go for a smaller book, if I went for a 7x10, let's have a look at the difference. We're going to go color, we're going to go standard, we're going to go hardback. Actually no, I'll go paperback, perfect bound, gloss, 40 pages. Let's see what it is now. It's $5.90, so it's quite a significant change from the pricing we did have for an 8x8, but by 7x10 you get $5.90 at that $18.99. If we went back to $14.99, it's $3.90. So the book size does make a big difference. The book type and the paper does make a difference, and whether you choose paperback or hardback. Your list price just needs to be competitive but attractive enough for customers, and you need to set your wholesale discount that will also be attractive if you wanted to get into brick and mortar stores. So I'll go over some more details when we're doing our upload. I just wanted to give you this information, it's base information, so when we get to that stage you have an understanding of what I'm talking to and referring to when I'm setting my pricing. So remember, set the book price so it's competitive. Think about the wholesale discount and whether you want the book to be attractive for if it's attractive for brick and mortar stores, and if your strategy is more for online stores. Finally, is it going to be returnable or non-returnable? You don't want books being sent back to you because you're going to have to cover that cost if you don't want them to. So think about if you want your book returnable or non-returnable. And if it's non-returnable, is it going to be attractive for bookstores to want to hold your book? If they've got excess amounts, then they're going to be stuck with them, and that's not going to be attractive for the bookstore. That's where returnable and non-returnable comes into place as well. So let's get ready for the next lesson, but I hope you got some good information from the pricing strategy that I talked about throughout this lesson. Selecting your categories will be something that you need to consider when you're uploading your book to IngramSpark. When you're uploading a book, it will provide you with a box that you can enter up to 3 different categories. I'm going to show you an example of where this will appear when you're uploading a book, but when we do get to the stage of uploading the book through that tutorial in this course, that will be a time where I'll enter the specific categories for that particular book. But for a moment, let's just have a look at how you can select different categories, the different categories that are available, and a way that you can actually do some research prior to uploading a book so you're confident of selecting the right category. Because it's important to get the right category so customers can find your book. If you include irrelevant categories, then your book's metadata won't match what you really intend customers to be searching for. And when your book goes to potentially bookstores, libraries, or other online book distributors, they need to match it with the right category. So let's have a look at what it looks like when you are uploading the book, and then we can look at different ways to get the right category before you upload. So when you're on your dashboard and you're wanting to create your new book, you would enter the normal details under title, the language. We'll go into more detail about this in the tutorial or the lesson about uploading your book to IngramSpark. But as we scroll down further, you can see where it says subjects. So what you need to do is find out what subjects is relevant for your book. So if we had a book about learning to write for students, and it could be a longer form book about learning to write. It could be a special activity book that is quite comprehensive and it's got different skills and activities and lessons that are built into that resource. What we would do is go to find subjects. So you could have alphabet, like this, and then you can choose what it might stand for, what it might be related to. When you do the categories, you can't have a juvenile category and then have an adult category as well. It must either be adult categories or juvenile categories or non-juvenile category, whatever it might be. It can't be a mixture of both. So if I'm looking at this book for a younger audience, I might choose juvenile non-fiction alphabet. Then I add subjects. Then it might be, let's have a look at another one. Oh, handwriting. See if something comes up here. Here we go. So juvenile non-fiction language arts handwriting. So we enter that one. There may only be 2 that's applicable, and that's okay, but you can add up to 3. We might try it again. You can go to here. So if you want to go down, you can have a look at all the different juvenile non-fiction. So you might even do activity book general. So we go there and we can add that one as well. If you didn't think that was applicable, cross it out. go back to find subjects, you might have a look at other things that might be suitable for juvenile. Now you can scroll all the way down, you can see all the different codes that are available or subject areas that are suitable for your book. If this book, for example, we might get rid of this. If this book was to do with, let's say, to do with habit development. So if we go here, if we go health, then you start to go down here and we go education. We might look at, there's different things here. What we're looking for is something that might be to do with habit development. So we might even go to personal development. And I normally just put the first few letters in. So it could be business development. And you can have a look under here. You can even go for personal. And let's have a look, health and fitness, general, personal growth. So that might be a good one there. That's juvenile though, so we might need the adult though. So if we go back here and do growth, then we might go self-help. Here we go. So we might have self-help, personal growth, success, and we add that one. You just need to find the right categories. Now, the way you can research that prior to using this is what they call, it's listed here, it's called the BISAC categories. What you need to do, you can just highlight that if you forget what it is, and I'm going to show you another way we can actually look up these categories before we start the upload process to help you get organized before that upload starts. Therefore, you can just plug them in nice and quickly. If you just wanted to search through the subjects, you can do that as well when you're uploading. But let me show you another way you can actually access this information without starting the upload process beforehand. So what you need to do is go to this website, bisg.org. You go to BISAC codes and you go to browse complete list. Now it gives you all the list of subject headings down here. So if we went to, say, self-help, and we look down here and we've found the category that we wanted. If we go down here first, if we went to, say, fashion and style, all you need to do is actually copy the code right here. Oops. Copy this code. If I can actually get it, let's start the other end. Copy. And if we copy that code and just put it in a blank Word document as part of our upload information, so it actually helped us with the upload process. If we went to find subjects and I actually put that code in and I push search, here it is, right there. If we did another one, so if we go find subjects, let's have a look at another one. Let's go to meditations. So we highlight this, copy it, and we enter it. There it is right there. So this will help you get the right category, and therefore you just add it and it's ready to go. Although I wish it did add for me, let's try it again. So we go there, copy, we do the search, enter, click on that one there, then we add the subject and it comes up. That's how you can do your preparation early before you upload. List those on a document, and I'm going to show you how I prepare my books for uploading when we get to that lesson. Therefore, it's going to be easy for you to have the name of the book, any sub headings, the author, categories, any descriptions, all that information into one handy resource that you can access when you're uploading, and that includes these categories. So that's where the categories are going to be. You just need to make sure that you're researching the correct categories and use this website to access them all for free, and it will give you a much better opportunity to rank your book under the right category and be found, which is most important. And as I said, you get the opportunity of listing 3 categories in that section when you're uploading your book or subjects. So there you have it. That's the quick and easy access point for finding the right categories for your book when you're uploading it to IngramSpark. So this is a really exciting part of the course. It's the part where I actually upload the book to IngramSpark. Now it's going to be quite a long lesson, so just make sure you've got everything ready. Now when I do upload the book, I've been prepared, I've got myself organized, and I've got all my files ready to go. Now there'll be parts of this upload process that I'll go through slowly just to make sure we cover everything off, because there's some really important things that we need to do. So without delaying anything any further, let's get into this lesson about the upload process for IngramSpark. Now I'm about to walk you through the upload process. So I have my documents ready. Now I need to sign into my dashboard, and I'll start the process from the very beginning so you have an understanding of what you need to do when you're uploading your book. Step number 1 is to sign into your account. So I'm going to log in now. And this is once you've created your account, you'll be able to do this. The next step we need to do is go to Titles. And then what I'm going to do is choose to add a title. So just up here, I click Add Title. What I then need to do is choose what option I wish to do. Is it a print and ebook, a print book only, or an ebook only? In this instance, I'm going to choose a print book only. So I click this button here. Now what I need to do is click which one's appropriate. Do you have the files ready for upload? Yes, I have all my files. I've got my manuscript and I've got my cover. They're both in the PDF format. You can also have no, I would like to see the available options for creating the files, or no, but I'll enter my title information and submit the files later. This one is applicable to me. So then it says great. That means you have the following properly formatted files. Do I have the print jacket or cover? That's in the PDF, and the print interior. I click both of those because I do have them. What would you like to do? You can either print, distribute, and sell your book globally, or only print book. So you'd choose this option if you just wanted to sell or have the book available for your business, for example. If you had a conference coming up and you just wanted the book, you didn't want to be selling that book globally through the 40,000 distribution channels, and you just wanted to have that book available so you could go to your dashboard and just get them orders printed, and you could get them shipped to you. But we're going to go to print, distribute, and sell book. The next page, I now need to start entering the title information. So this will go in here. So what I need to do is go and get my document, and I've got all of my information here to go. So I copy each of these sections, go here, click, paste. Next one, language. I can choose any of these languages that my book is going to be uploaded to. So if your book is written in English, you click English. If it was written in Japanese, you click Japanese. Plenty of different languages to choose from. So I'm going to go English. The print ISBN. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to copy this. Then I go and enter that in there. Publishing rights. I own the copyright or hold necessary publishing rights, or this is a public domain work. So the public domain work is something that's available freely to the public on the internet. Mine is my own. I hold the rights to this, so I'll click that button there, and it will go into information about, does your title include someone's name, the name of a famous company, include trademarks or pictures, include pictures copied and pasted from the web, include the work of someone other than yourself, or include any misleading cover information. And I click no if it applies to you. Yes, my title includes one or many of the above if that applies to you, but mine definitely does not. So click no. Now the next bit is this one just here. So this is where you add the subtitle. Sometimes you miss it. It's quite easy to miss. Make sure you tick that, and I'll need to go and click my subtitle, which is just here, copy it, go back here, click, done. Now, does it have a series name? Is your book part of a series? If you're unsure about any of these, just click on the little question mark and that will bring further informational help for you to decide. No, my book's not part of a series at this point in time. Series number, edition name, or edition number. You can, remember, click on any of these if you're not sure, and that will go through and clarify if you need to enter that information. So keep going down. Authors and contributors. So this is where you can include the author's name. You can include the illustrator. You can include many different things. Depends what you want to do. So I'm going to keep as author. I'm going to have my name. I'm not going to have my middle or suffix. And you can also have different information here as well. So you can include a biography about yourself, any contributor prior work, any affiliations you might have. So you can also include this information if it's applicable to you. Now, I could include my biography, and I might do that on this occasion to show you. So I'm going to go and grab my biography information and include it in this section just here. So I've now included that information in there. Any contributor prior work, you can include that as well. You can add a contributor. So if you had an illustrator, then you can add that there as well. So you can go down to, where is it? Illustrator. Illustrator. If you had an illustrator, you can include those details there. You can put whatever you want to. So you can leave that if you need to. So you can just delete that and you don't need it. Categorize your title. So you can include what they call the imprint. Now you can have your publishing name if you want to, or you can have your own name. It just needs to be an imprint name that will appear in the book or on the back of the book. This is part of the metadata that will go in. It sometimes doesn't appear on the back. It will just appear within the metadata and against your ISBN number. So include the selected imprint. So you can go here. It says the imprint name is displayed as the publisher on most retail sites. If you want the imprint to be different than your business name, click the link to add another imprint. So I'm going to leave mine there as a Life Graduate Publishing Group. Now this is the subjects. This is where I need to go and choose those subjects that I had. So if we go find subjects, and I'm going to go to my document, and I'm just going to get rid of that one. And I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to choose this right there, copy that code, go back, and I'm going to enter that code there and go search. And then I click on that one and I add. I do it again. I'm going to go to a different code. This is my second category. You're allowed up to 3 categories. Click that one and then add. And then I'm going to do one more. Now remember, when you're adding the categories, if you start with, say, juvenile fiction, you can't then add an adult category. It must remain with juvenile. So I'm going to add my third, which is this one just here. Go back. I'm going to find subjects, enter the code. It's not coming up this time. Now it comes up, click that one and add. So now I've got 3. So it says here, you can select the category code to help potential buyers and retailers and distributors and search engines understand what your title is about. So it's required. So you can have 1 because that's required, but 3 helps ensure the broadest discovery for your title. So it must be accurate and specific to what your book is about. Let's click out of that. So I've added my 3 subjects or categories. Select the audience. This is where you need to select what age appropriate is your book. So if you go juvenile, which mine is, or you can select, it's usually trade general. If my book was a book about habits, habit development, I'd click trade general. You can have a young child if your book is for 13 to 18-year-olds. if it's a professional or scholar, so it's a science textbook or some sort of book about accounting, doing a qualification for accounting or engineering, then you might do professional scholar. If it was, say, a science textbook for schools, then you might choose that one, or a college textbook. So you can choose different ones. So it might be for high schools, elementary, or college. On this occasion, I'm choosing juvenile. Now, it is it is compulsory, because of this red asterisk, to choose the age range. So my book is going to be suitable for 3 to probably maybe 8-year-olds, and the grade range would be K to 3 or 4. Probably would do 3. Now you can show more fields to improve the optimization. Now this is when you can add extra bits in here that will help the metadata. So a regional subject. Enter the primary geographical location the work's informational story is about. If a work covers multiple locations, it's better to select a broader, more inclusive region. I don't normally fill this in, but you can fill this in if you want to, because mine isn't specific to a country. It could be any English-speaking country, so you can include that if you want to. Now, therma subjects or category codes are used by global retailers, bookstores, libraries, publishers to describe titles content for international discovery. So this might be helpful. So if you click subjects here, you can then go through and choose what might be suitable for you. So I'm going to go through and just have a quick look at these. Society. So mine is about health. So if you keep having a look down here, if there's anything that is suitable, here we go. Health, relationships, and personal development. So mine is more about family and health. So we'll have a look here, and there's probably not a lot that I could probably choose from. If I go to mind, body, and spirit, let's have a look here. See if there's anything that might help. There's nothing that is going to be about a child visiting the doctor. But let's have a look here if there's any others here. So have a look. I can't see any. I might pause it and see if I can find any that are suitable. And I found one here, children's health. So I'm going to click children's health. You can also do find qualifiers. So is there anything here that is suitable? Again, don't click it if it's not. So for all educational levels, for preschool learning, possibly. So I'm going to click that one there. Table of contents. You can include the table of contents if your book has a structure, like a high content book that has different set of contents. So for example, my habit switch book, I had a list of contents that I included in here. Now this particular book is a children's picture storybook, therefore it doesn't have a table of contents. Now you can click here again as well. You can find out some more information about what you can include here. It is a good opportunity to add more metadata if you do have a table of contents that you can add in that section. Review quotes. If you've already got some review quotes by a launch team, then you can include these review quotes in this section here. Now, the review quotes, they need to be authentic, they need to be genuine and real, and you must include where they're from as well. Now you can structure them so you can have different text sizes, so you can adjust all of that information. At this point in time, this book is brand new. I don't have any review quotes, so I'm not going to include those at this point in time of the upload, but if you did have review quotes, you could include them here. The title description. So this is where you have the information about the book and a descriptive copy appropriate for public display. Describe the work in straightforward and consumer-friendly terms. Bolding key sentences can help your work stand out in certain websites. So this is where I go back to my Word document, and I've got my description right here. So I'm going to highlight this. On this occasion, this book is a hardcover book, so I'm going to copy that there and just make sure everything is in place. So you can highlight anything if you want to. You can change the color as well. You can even change the color, so you might have a blue, and you can change that. You might have some other words that you would like, just making sure that all the spelling is correct. I've got Grammarly, which is picking up this any sort of grammatical changes I need to make. And then you can also change any headings you want to along this bit here. So just go through, add the spaces if you need to. Just check everything is suitable, because what you want to do is make sure you get everything as accurate as you can to start with. You can always adjust the description. There's no charge for adjusting the description, but you will get charged if you change your cover or your manuscript once you've published the book. But the description can be changed at a later date. So let's keep going down here further. Make sure it's all good, and I can see that that's all good. Now, you can have 4,000 bytes. I've only used 1,297. Now, the keywords. This is where we need to add those keywords that I grabbed, which are all here. So you've got the semicolon, which separates each of them. So I'm going to copy all of those. I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to paste. And all my keywords have been included. It says here, you can use up to 500 characters total. Include keywords in your book description to help with the discovery of your book. Include terms and phrases that potential buyers may search for. So let's click out of that. So I've included my keywords. Now, all this information really helps with your metadata. So we're going to click here, and you can do a short description. Now, the short description is going to be short. It's only 250 bytes. Now, it's already saying 11. Not sure why there's already something being used, because I haven't added anything yet. But let's go back here, and we might just see if all of this, if I do this and copy this bit, let's just have a look here, paste that, and you can already see that it's exceeded the 250 bytes. So that's where you just need to try and get something that's fairly short and concise. So let me try and shorten that now, so it is under the 250 bytes permitted. And I've made that quick adjustment, so it still flows, and I need to add the full stop, and you can see how it's under the 250 bytes. Next thing you need to do is click continue. We're now up to the print information, so this section just here. Select the trim size. So these are all the trim sizes that I can choose from. So I'm going to choose the 8 by 8 inch, which is just here. I can then choose the different interior color and paper. So I'm going to choose color, and then you can either do standard color 70, or premium. I'm going to use the standard color 70. You could choose, if you wanted to, the black and white. If you chose black and white, then you just do the white, black and white printed on 50-ounce paper. But on this occasion, I'm choosing the standard color 70 on the 70-ounce paper. The binding. Do I want paperback or hardback? In this instance, I'm choosing the hardback, and I can choose the case laminate. If I did paperback, I could do perfect bound, that's a glued spine with color laminated, but I'm doing the hardback with case laminated there. Now I choose the cover finish. I'm choosing gloss. Now you can choose matte as well. I choose gloss for any books that are going to be handled a lot, because I find that the gloss is easier to clean. The matte sometimes has, you can see little fingerprints and marks, and it's quite a bit harder to remove. So for a children's book, I'm choosing the gloss, and the hardback covers I think look better in gloss as well. The book type. So this is going to be standard color, 8 by 8 inch, and I'm now going to choose or do the page count. So my book is 42 pages. Now the market, it's going to be in the United States. You can also choose any other countries as well. I'm just going to choose United States in United States dollar, and this will tell me the printing costs. So print costs and earnings shown do not include GST or any other taxes. If I went back here and I changed this to standard, so let's have a look. $8.51 for standard color 70 on 50-ounce paper. It goes to $7.94. Premium, $10.37. So you can see the differences. If I was to do paperback and I change it to perfect bound, then it's going to be $3.70. So you can see the change in the costs based on hardback, paperback, the color. So it adds up a fair bit, like a lot more. So you can make sure it's color standard, hardback, finish. This needs to adjust again. I'm just going to do this so it adjusts automatically. Not sure why it's not changing to the costs. I just want to make sure everything, here we go, the page count, which I have. So I'm just going to do 42. If I do up a couple and down, now it's reverted back to $8.51. So I did the color, 8 by 8 color, standard color, hardback, case laminate, gloss, tells me the book type, the page count. I've left that in the United States, but you could select other countries if you want that different pricing to show you what it's going to cost. Now our print pricing. So what does this say here? For detailed information about pricing, your book for Ingram's global distribution, click here. So you could go there and review, but as I mentioned in a previous lesson, you need to get the pricing right. Now I've suggested in here that the pricing that I'm going to have this book is $16.99. Let's have a look what that works out to be based on the print cost of print. Oh, so the pricing, which is just here. So it then calculates all the prices here for me based on the United States pricing structure that I set. What we need to do is to work out our wholesale discount. Now this is something of a grey area that I'm still trying to work through regarding the best offer. Now remember, if you want your book, or if you think your book is going to be placed in libraries or even more brick and mortar stores, then you need to offer a wholesale discount that's going to be attractive for those stores. Now you can set it as high as 55%, and it says retailer preference. Now the brick and mortar store won't receive that full 55%. Ingram Content Group do receive a percentage of that, but it's a personal decision that you need to consider what your best options are. I'm going to set mine at the moment at 50%. We go other, and I'm going to set it at 50%. But let's have a look and see what I'm going to get in return as well as part of compensation. So see how it's negative. I need to set the book price so that it is a compensation in the positive. At the moment, it's just under $1. I might even consider going to 45%, and it's $1.93. I'm probably going to leave it at 45%. I think the bookstores would still hold my book if it's at 45%, but that's the very low end. I've got to be conscious of not overpricing my book as well. At $18.99, I think that is right on the border of potentially being a little bit too expensive, but for the compensation I need to ensure that I'm not going to be in the negative either. That's where creating the hardbacks is a challenge. Paperbacks is a lot easier to do the pricing. But in this example, creating the hardback, I wanted to show you the pricing you need to set that for the retail and what the wholesale discount would be if a bookstore purchased your book. Now the return option, you can do no, which means that if a bookstore ordered 50 of your books and they didn't sell them, then you would not be liable for that cost. The catch is that a bookstore is unlikely to put your book on sale in their bookstore if they can't return them, because They don't want to be holding excess stock that they can't get rid of. Now, you can have yes deliver. If you did yes deliver means that they can return them and they will be delivered back to you at a cost. So if a bookstore ordered 50, they only sold 5, you would have 45 returned to you at your cost. And that can be very expensive and can be not a great invoice to get from Ingram when you have to pay that. You can also have yes destroy. So yes destroy, if we go to here, yes destroy means copies can be returned to Ingram and you will not receive a physical copy upon its return. If you select this option, you will be charged for the current wholesale cost of each copy returned, but no shipping and handling fees will apply. We'll destroy any return copies received if this option is selected. Also, changing the return status for a title can have a negative impact on your profits. It's a really tricky one. Very, very tricky. If you want it in a brick and mortar store, then I'd probably select yes destroy to begin with. See if brick and mortar stores are potentially carrying your book. Again, the transparency by Ingram to tell you where your books are selling doesn't show at this point in time. I'm really hoping that changes in the future. But I'm going to have yes destroy. If I feel like it's going to be sold more online, I would have no. So if my book was more of a journal for grandparents to discuss their lives and to write things in it, which I've done books before, I have return as no, because I know that 99% of those books are online books, and I'd even have that at 35%, and I'd have no. And therefore my compensation is going to be $3.83 if the book is purchased online. In this instance, I'm not really sure, but I'm going to start and give it every opportunity to be carried in a bookstore, and I'm going to do yes destroy. I don't want the books returned to me if a bookstore overorders. Can you imagine if they accidentally pushed to order 200 copies and they sold 5 of them and you had 195 copies that were returned to you at your cost? So you just need to be careful with that. United Kingdom, I'm now working through the different countries. So this is in English pound, euro, Canadian dollars, Australian dollars, and US dollars down here. So I'm going to choose the same option for this as well, 45. I'm going to do yes destroy. European Union, I'm going to do the same, 45%, and I'm going to do yes destroy. Canadian dollars, I'm going to do 45%, and I'm going to have yes destroy. Australia, now you might note that there's no pricing here. That's because the books are printed in the United States. What I do is tend to match it with the Australian dollar because there's not a great deal of difference. There's a little bit of difference, but not a huge difference between the Canadian and the Australian dollar. So I'm going to do $23. And if I did the 45% here, it'll give me actually a good indication of what it's going to be. So $3, I could probably reduce that price to 23, and I might do that down to 22. Therefore, that's the author compensation after all the printing costs that I would receive if a book is sold. Global Connect, that's where you could sell books in India and other countries around the world. I normally match it with the United States pricing, and then I can also do 45% here as well. And you see there's no option here for yes destroy. You might like to increase it if you want to encourage international countries to purchase your book. If you did 50%, then that would do it at $1 or just under $1. And that could be an option. You think, well, you know, I probably wouldn't be selling many books internationally through markets like India, so I'm happy to make it a bit more attractive for them. So then you need to click these boxes. I understand that applying a discount less than 55% can limit the likelihood that bookstores in some markets will purchase my title, which can limit the title's reach. So I'm going for 45. So I'm going under 55%, but I understand that, and I understand the risks involved with doing that. I understand that selecting yes destroy return option means copies of the title can return to Ingram, and I will not receive a physical copy in return, but I will be charged the current wholesale cost of each copy. So the wholesale price I will be charged for. So you need to keep that in mind, and I accept all prices. Understand the automatic currency conversion reflects the pricing entered today, but will not automatically update as the value of each currency type changes outside of my account. So if the Australian dollar or the US dollar rises or falls, that could change the pricing structure that is listed just here. So you need to make sure that with your pricing that you're not going to have it so it goes in the negative, because you do not want a negative return appearing on your account. So just accommodate that as well. And I think I might even have to change this, because I would prefer to have pricing over $1 in case there's fluctuations in different pricing structures. And Ingram have been known from time to time to increase their printing costs, and what you need to do is go back into your account and adjust every single price if you start to go into the negative. So it's best to have pricing structure that allows for increases in printing costs. Now we go down here, print options, enable look inside the book. So if your book is going to appear from Ingram onto, for example, Amazon have a look inside feature, and some other online bookstores do as well. So you can click this box if you want a look inside, which is generally the first 10% of the book. Large text edition is a large text. Mine is not. And is it right to left content? No. So I'm just going to leave that blank. Publication date, then you can just put that as today's date or whenever in the future this book might be available. So I'm going to select, I'm going to go to the July, show more fields to improve. So you can click here and you can do an on sale date if you wanted to. I don't normally do on sale date, just a publication date. Then I go continue. Now this is where I enter my information for the print and the print cover. Notice how it must be in a PDF format and you can't exceed 1.5 gigs. So I'm going to click upload and go and get that title ready. So I'm just going to click on my manuscript, go open. So this is the interior. So I'll wait for this to load up, and that will allow me to, that will give me the time just to see as it loads up, and once the green gets to the end, it is uploaded, and then I'm going to do my print cover. So I'm just going to wait for this to load up, and once the green upload line has disappeared and you see your information is uploaded, now I'm going to do the same with the cover. Make sure you get the right files in the right places. So you don't want to be uploading your cover into this section and your interior into this section. So once they're both uploaded, you can see the PDF has been done. Once you've done that, just double check everything here. So Sam and Ted visit the doctor. I've got my ISBN, the publication date, and the book type. Just make sure that is all accurate. And now we go continue. So next step is the title metadata validation. So this will tell you whether it picks up sort of any little errors or not. So the title metadata has no errors. Sometimes you get some content file validation error. Now, it may or may not pick it up, but you can sometimes have a red box that appears. Now, we'll just wait and see whether that appears or not. And it says my content files have no errors. Now, there could be a red box that pops up here, and it says that some of your colors may not print up as you expect, but it'll have a little checkbox down the bottom that you can tick and say, I accept that. Now, I've had that error come up, and I've ticked it, and I've never had an issue with the printing. The colors have come up as expected. The other error that I have previously had when I first started was to say that fonts hadn't been embedded. Now you need to make sure that your fonts are embedded when you're saving it as a PDF. And go back to a previous lesson when I mentioned that as well. So once you have both validations ready, it's now time to continue. So just check all the information here. Make sure you got the title right, the author, the trim size, what color paper, what type of paper is it a case laminate, which is the hardback? Laminate type, I'm doing gloss, 42 pages, and my ISBN. So I'm now going to go agree, and I submit. Now this will now go through the process for approval. Now the next stage will be an email from Ingram for me to check that my file is accurate. So it says, congratulations, your title submission was successful. So please allow 1 to 2 business days for technical file review. I'll show you that email, and there's a review that we need to do of that file called a proof copy, and once we're happy with that proof copy, we send it through, or we click OK and acknowledge that everything's ready and it is ready for distribution. So I'm going to now await the approval email from Ingram, and once that's received, I'll film the next lesson. And welcome to the lesson. I'm excited to say that I've now received an email from IngramSpark to let me know that my book is ready to proof and to hopefully give the approval. But before we get there, let me just run through the approval process once our book has been uploaded. So we've done our uploading process, which was the previous lesson. Now there's an internal review by Ingram to make sure it meets all the specifications. Then you will receive an email, which I now have. So I'm going to show you that email, and we're going to go through the approval process to make sure everything is accurate and as we want it to be. Then we preview that PDF document, and then we approve it and it goes live. So let me go to that email. I'll show you what that looks like, and then I'm going to go through the approval process to make sure that everything that I want is in place, because this is the critical time. If you are to make changes, the time is right now. So let's get to that email. And this is the email that I've received from Ingram. Looking at the date, it took about 2.5 days for it to come through. Now what I need to do, I can either log into my account or I can approve it via the Approve eProof right here. So what I'm going to do is click on that right now. So now I need to log in to my account. I'll now be taken to the page where it has titles pending your approval. It'll have the thumbnail of the cover, you'll have the ISBN, your book title. What you need to do is hover over the book title and click. So then it comes up like this. So it says in title approval, in reviewing your eProof, please note that the title cannot move forward without your approval. If you see typos or want to make changes to your text, you'll have to make those in your original file and upload a revised file. In reviewing the eProof, you should look for issues related to the look of your book, including text or images cut off or pages are running to the gutter, images that have moved or are blurry, fonts or characters not displaying properly. On-screen colors are representative and will not precisely match the final version. Click on the title below to download the eProof. So what we do, we have a look at these details, make sure the title matches what we want. You've got the ISBN and the format. I want hardback case laminate in this example. So we scroll down, we have a look at the details, then what we need to do is either download it or get an email. I'm going to download the eProof, or what they call the proof, and I'm going to double check everything. So it's downloading now. Just wait for it to download. Then what I do is click on it, and this will take me to the page. Now you'll have the first couple of pages that are IngramSpark pages. Of course, they're not going to appear for your book. We scroll down, and it'll go through some information talking about eProof hairlines. So when reviewing eProofs and PDFs, you'll often see hairlines. These thin, light color lines are a result of a transparency flattener used by PDF creators and will sometimes appear around text boxes. Fortunately, these hairlines are only visible in your PDF and will not print when the book is produced. So you can see there's like a hairline that runs down here. So let's scroll down. Now this is what your book cover is. So I've created the cover. You can see the ISBN barcode down the bottom right hand corner of the back page. Remember, I'm allowing for that fold over for my hardback. So we scroll down a bit further and you can see the cover has come up perfectly. So this is the hard cover. So yes, it might have that extra trim bit there, but I wanted it to be perfectly aligned, and I'm really happy with that. So what we do, we scroll down here further and we check all the images as we want, all the writing's in place. So I go down and I make sure that I've got everything here and the pages are perfectly aligned, illustrations are great. Again, all good. And then the book keeps going. Now, I'm going to go through the book now and I'm going to check everything to make sure that it meets all the specifications that I need. And what I need to make sure is that I'm happy with the color resolution that's happening. There's no typos, and I want to make sure that there's no errors at all. So I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom. I'm on the last couple of pages now. I've added in a chart there. I've got about the author, and you'll see how it's got a couple of blank pages. That's okay. It's got proof on there. That's not going to appear on your book. The last page may appear and it's got a blank with a little barcode. Then I've got my back page. That's how it should look for you. Now, the main key things you need to look for, particularly with the back page, you want to make sure that the barcode isn't covering any writing. As I mentioned, the template that was provided to me had the barcode in the middle, but they've placed it on the bottom right-hand corner. So you need to allow, I think, from about the middle across to the right for your barcode, depending on where that's going to be placed. Now I'm going to scroll all the way up to the top and just show you the cover again. And these are the things that you need to check and double check to make sure that they're appropriate for your print and that you're going to be happy for that to go ahead. And so what I'm looking for with the front cover is that there's no white lines or anything, no writing that's going to drift over, anything that's going to be cut off. That's very, very close to the edge, but I'm okay with that still. It's still in the boundary. Ideally, you might want to have it just a few millimeters to the left, but I'm okay with that. And then the rest of the manuscript is good. I've read over it. I've triple checked it for spelling errors, and I'm very happy. So once that happens, then you can go back. You can save that document if you want to, and you go back and you go to this process here. So after review, please select Approve Action below. So the Life Graduate approves his title. The Life Graduate approves his title for printing, distribution, and sale for orders placed by my account or retailers. The Life Graduate approves his title for printing from orders placed by my account only. So that's only if you want to print books from your account and you're not wanting it distributed across the 40,000 options that are available through Ingram. Or the Life Graduate does not approve this title. So if you found a mistake, you would click this button here. The Life Graduate has revised content to upload. Now you won't be charged the $25 during this process if you find an error. You will only be charged if you make the book live, then you decide to make changes. That's why this time is so critical. So if you wanted to make changes, you click there and you'd go to the page where you can either upload a new manuscript or a cover, or both. It's up to you. Or the Life Graduate rejects the proof and requests further review. Please provide your rejection notes. Now, I've never had to do this. It's only if you had some issues, and you can send some add some details here, and then you can also add a confirmation email. So I'm very happy with this. Remember, if you wanted to revise and upload new content because your cover isn't exactly as you want, or your manuscript has spelling errors and you need to change those and add a new manuscript, do it right now in this process by clicking the button right here. So I'm going to now click the top button because I'm happy, I approve it, I'm ready for distribution. So we click down here and we go continue. Do you want to promote your title? This is when you have an opportunity of using the marketing provided by Ingram through the, what was it called? I can't think what it was called, but it was the little catalog that Ingram provides you the opportunity for $150 to market your book. You can either go, yes, I'm not going to be marketing my title through that publication, so I'm going to be going no. So now what happens? We just wait for a moment, and then it will say that the book has been approved, and we are ready. So you'll just see it here. So the order is not submitted until payment terms have been accepted. I had the free code, so that has been waived for me. If you had to pay the $49 fee, that would be what would be happening right now, and you accept it, but there's no fee payable for me because I've used that code. I go accept, and I just wait, and thank you, your order's been submitted for processing. So that is it, and you can expect within the next 15 minutes or less that your book will be available for distribution globally, and you can go and purchase. You can order copies yourself if you want to. You can let everyone know that your book is now published. So it's a very exciting time. So now I'm on the home page, and you can see that the title is now available. So if I have a look here, I can see the details of case laminate, my details, submitted date, publication date, and the little globe at the end here means that it's now available for global distribution. So it's such an exciting time. The book is now live, and I can now promote the book, and it can be ready for purchasing by customers across the world. So I hope you enjoyed that process. It's, as I said, it's very exciting when your book goes live, and I'm glad I was able to show you the process for Sam and Ted. In this lesson, I want to talk about customer support. There are going to be times when you need to reach out to customer support because you might have an issue or a concern, or you just need some general help to get your book uploaded. Now, what I'm going to do is point you towards some ways you can get customer support and also help with any troubleshooting that you might have. So let me go to a couple of different places to begin with, then I'll show you how to reach out to Ingram via the support tab on your dashboard. So firstly, there are 3 different email addresses that you can use depending on where you're located. So for US, you can reach out to IngramSpark support at ingramcontent.com. For internationals, IngramSpark International at ingramcontent.com. And for Australian residents, IngramSpark Australia at ingramcontent.com. Now, you can also go directly to the support tab. You can see it just highlighted right here with the arrow. When you're on your dashboard, you can click on that link, and that will take you to a support page. Now, if you don't want to email directly, you can fill in the form, and that will help you reach the required customer support that you need. Now, I have heard that there are sometimes delays in the way that Ingram can get back to you regarding support issues. One of the most effective ways that I've seen has been through the Ingram Facebook group. There seems to be a better connect and a better resolution process through the Facebook page. So if you don't have much success initially with the email or the support tab on your dashboard, then I definitely recommend that you reach out to the Facebook group. Now, I'm creating a document that was supplied as part of this course that will have a lot of these links attached to it. So you'll be able to use that document to look at the ways that you can actually reach out to customer support. Let me jump on my dashboard though and show you the couple of ways that you can use your dashboard to achieve some answers, hopefully, from any questions that you might have. So on your dashboard, once you've scrolled down the page, just under Home, you've got a Support tab right here. If you click that Support tab, then you can either go and check out these different things here. So you can title, setup instructions, placing and reviewing orders, the Help Center, so you can do the Help Center or even a live chat. So if we went to Help Center, this would take us to a separate page, and you can actually find out different things that you can learn or ways that they can help you, including videos. You can also search in the How Can We Help You bar. Now, if we go back to Ingram again and we go to Support, now we can also go Contact Us. If you want to have email us, then you can go email us there, and then you can submit your request. So you can enter your email address, location, your account number. That will be on the top right-hand corner of your dashboard when you're on the home page. The subject, description, if you have an ISBN for the particular book that you're having issues with, and any attachment. So you can add files and then you can submit. So you can reach out to support that way as well. So if we go back again, it is just down here, and you can also, as I said, go to the live chat, and that will give you a way to be able to reach out to Ingram and get the support that you need. So what have been maybe the top 10 things that I've had issues with that you may face yourself? I've listed the top 10 here, and I'll just go through each of these very quickly, knowing that these are likely to possibly come up for you during your time with Ingram. There might be plenty of others that you or concerns that you may face or have issues with. Unfortunately, I can't address all these issues for you if they happen to come up. The best place to reach out for support is either the Ingram Facebook page, or through notifying them directly through the support tab, or emailing them directly. Unfortunately for me, it's going to be very hard for me to be able to fix any errors or issues without having access to what the book might be, or other processes or things that you may have missed during that process, but Ingram will certainly be able to help you out. So let me go through these top 10. Number 1 would be a file upload error. Now, I've had an issue myself where I've uploaded the manuscript under the cover upload and the cover under the manuscript. So of course there's going to be an issue there, and you might have something where it says that fonts haven't been embedded. So make sure you do some research to ensure that your fonts are embedded. You've got the right, you're saving it the right way, so that your colors are also rich and colorful, and the way that you want them to be turned out with your file. And also remember to make sure you save it as a PDF file for both your manuscript and your cover. Next one, your delay in review of book approvals. So when you send your book through for approval, it suggests that it can take up to 1 to 2 business days. Well, I've seen approvals take 5 to 6 days, even a week. Some people I've even read it's taken longer. So you just might need to be patient. If it gets to 1 week, I would reach out to Ingram through their customer support and just request an update on where the approval is at. The current status of your book. So the status does change. So it can be either in review. I think there's 3 different statuses. One can even be on hold. So if they're finding that there's an issue with the integrity through the integrity catalog component, then there can be a hold on your book. So that is something that causes confusion, and you just need to wait for it to move through that process. I've had books on hold for 3 to 4 weeks at times, so that can be frustrating. As I just mentioned, the content integrity. So you might get a rejection of your book should they find that it doesn't meet their requirements. That is an issue that you could face if you don't submit the book that meets their requirements. So make sure you go back to the lesson where I mention content integrity and the types of books you can submit through to Ingram before you upload a book, so you've got an understanding of what criteria they request and expect. Number 5, negative compensation and returns. If your book, after printing costs, is in the negative, then that is going to start showing on your account, and you go backwards faster than you go forwards. Also returns, if you click that yes, returns are eligible for your book, and you have bookstores that are buying bulk and then returning them, then also you might be required to pay an invoice for those returns. So that can be something you may face, and that's where the decision of whether you allow returns or not comes into play. Number 6, confusion with author compensation payment schedule. I've provided a lesson in the course about how long it will take for you to get paid. Remember, they have a 90-day processing schedule. So if you published and sold a book in January, and you got 10 sales, well, the revenue from those 10 sales wouldn't be paid until April, 90 days after the end of the first of that month. Number 7, not knowing where your book is being sold. Now, there is a way of trying to determine where your book is being sold, and it's called bookfinder.com. I'll quickly show you how you can find your book, because Ingram don't give you a list of where your book is being sold, so it's actually very hard to market your book directly. And that is one frustration I do have with Ingram. I wish I knew where the book was selling so I could direct more marketing towards that source. At this point in time, that's not offered. Hopefully that will change. But let me show you bookfinder.com, and all you need to do is enter your ISBN and it will start to do a search on where your book is being sold. So I just entered my ISBN number into the top bar here, press go, and then if I scroll down here, I can actually see where my book is being sold. And it provides, how many here? We've got 32 different places that the book is showing for my ISBN, and there's also a couple of used books that are being sold. I'm not sure if anyone would buy a used book for $102. However, these are interesting with the prices as well. So through Amazon, it's selling for $9.14 Australian, but then if you go to this site here, it's selling for $44, $48. I'm not sure why it does that, but that is a way of being able to find where your book is selling. It's not a comprehensive list because we don't know if it's in brick and mortar stores or in libraries. So it will just give you a bit of an idea. So it's called bookfinder.com, and you put in your ISBN number and push the go to find where your book could be listed around the world. And number 8, I've received this a few times where it says the ISBN is already in use. I know that I haven't used a particular ISBN because I might have just purchased it from bowker.com. But for some reason, there had been a little bit of a glitch in the system for Ingram saying that the ISBN was already in use. Now, of course, this will show if you try and use the same ISBN for a book you've published previously with a new book. So it's important to keep a list of your ISBNs with the title and maybe when you've uploaded it, so you can keep track of that. But that could be something that you come up against where it says the ISBN is already in use when you're uploading your book to Ingram on page number 1. Number 9, the print quality based on paper selection is not suitable. So I've had this before where you've got a book that has some illustrations in it or requires some writing. You might do the 50-ounce book, but then when you get an author copy, you do realize that the paper is quite thin and some of the words might be showing through to the next page, and if you have to write in that book, then the ink might move through to the next page. If it isn't suitable, then what you also will need to do, you can change the paper thickness, but you also will need to redo the cover because the thickness in paper could potentially change the spine thickness. So along with changing the paper thickness, you will also have to pay for a reviewed cover to accommodate the extra thickness depending on the size of your book. And number 10, book report delays on your reports dashboard. The way that the reports works on Ingram is that they need to wait for the online bookstore or the brick and mortar store to report your sales, so there can be delays. I've sometimes find that I might have the same orders reported on my dashboard, say on the Monday, and then there might be a big update not until the Wednesday or the Thursday, and there might be a couple of days where nothing changes at all, and then suddenly there's a big update. So there can be delays, and I've seen people say, look, I know there were 10 books sold, but it's not showing in my report. Well, there can be a delay, and it could be 1 to 2 weeks, even 3 weeks for that reporting to come through. So there can be delays on the dashboard, and this could also impact when you get paid and how you get paid based on those book sales. So just know there can be delays on your reports dashboard, and it may not be updated every day. It might be every few days that is reported through to you. So they're the top 10 issues you may face. There are probably plenty of others that you might come across, but as I said, please reach out to IngramSpark to be able to help with any of these different issues. I won't be able to, unfortunately, be able to help you with many of your issues, and there are groups that specialize in helping, and I definitely recommend and encourage you to go to those groups to help you with any issues that you might have. But I have provided the email addresses and the supports tab I've shown you on the dashboard, and also the Ingram Facebook group is another good one to get into. In this lesson, I want to run through how to organize book orders. You might have books that you wish to order for yourself. You might have books that you want to organize for your business, friends and family. There might be bulk orders that you could be arranging, or you might even take some samples to a bookstore to see if they'll actually hold your book. Now, what we're going to do is go onto the dashboard, and I'm going to show you the process that you need to follow to order either an author copy or multiple books, depending on what your strategy is. Let me get onto the dashboard now. So from your Home tab on your dashboard, you just go down to the icon that says Place an Order. So you can place an order here. Then what you need to do is you can enter any books that you've got by title, by ISBN. So if I wanted to organize one for, say, a habit switch, click enter. It brings up the two different formats. So I've got a perfect bound or a case laminate. So if I just did the perfect bound, add item to order. Now this is going to be in Australian dollars for me. Depends on what country you're in and what you want to do. There might be different printing costs associated with what you want to do. So I've got my information here. Now, if I wanted to add more titles to my order, then I can simply just scroll down further and I can add more books. Then if I wanted to do one, say, job launch, and then I want one of those, then you add items to order. Now you can also add more books. So if you wanted 3 books or 3 copies, you can do that as well. So we scroll down here and we go to order quantity. So if I wanted 4 copies of this, I do that, and then I update the order. Okay, so we just update the order. So it's pricing it. Then we go down further and it will give you an updated price. Now you also can see how quickly you'd like your order printed. So you can either choose economy, which is prints in 5 business days, express, prints in 3 business days, or rush in 1 business day. And how quickly would you like your order delivered? So you've got economy or premium. Again, these are in Australian dollars. Your currency may be different depending on what part of the world you're in. Once you are finished, you can either add more books. So you can add more books down below. You can delete books just by doing the bin. And once you've done, then you submit order and you will enter your credit card details and the address that you would like the books to go to. So that is a simple process of how to order your books. And you need to check this box down here as well, that if you chose that item, so you've got, depending on the type, so if you're on premium, then they will provide tracking for that. But if there is a box down here, you'll need to check that before you move forward. So hopefully that helps with the order process. I'm going to clear my order because I don't require those books right at this point in time. But that is how you do the order for IngramSpark. Before I go, there's actually one thing. You can actually choose the print location as well of where you want it. So you've got US, the UK as well, and Australia. So you can choose the different locations. So if you I've had someone where I had a book that needed to be delivered to the UK and they were located in London. I then did the print location as London, therefore it was nice and quick and it didn't need to be shipped from Australia to get to the UK. And that's the benefit of using IngramSpark as well. They've got printing facilities around the world that can actually reach your destination quite quickly. So that's just an extra thing you might need. And at times I do have promotional codes. So if you order between 10 and 15 books, there might be a 5% discount. If you ordered 200 books, there might be a 20% discount. So keep an eye out on your email for any bulk ordering promotion codes as well that occur from time to time. So if you have some changes that you want to add to your book, or if you want to change your pricing, change something in your subtitle, there is a way you can edit your title from the dashboard. I'm going to go to one of my books now and just show you a few of the little tricks that you can do to seamlessly change your details. But also, if you happen to need to change your cover or your manuscript, I'll show you where you can do that as well. So let me jump onto my dashboard and I'll show you through that process. So I'm on my dashboard, and under title, you can search under different ones. You can do author, status, ISBN, the format, submission date. You can do that. I'm just going to go under the title of the book and I'm just going to do search, and this is how you can edit the details. So wait for it to load up, and what you can do, you can see the main title here. You can go over and you can place an order, or you can do different actions. So we're going to edit the title. So go edit title and you've got the basic information. So this basic information will be the title, and you can change that. So if you wanted to change it, you can change that. You can alter the language. You can't change the ISBN, but you can change the subtitle if you wanted to. So you can just click on the little pen and then that allows you to change it. You can also add series name details, series number details, and edition name and number. You can go down here, and any of these fields that you hover over and it gives you the pencil, you can amend as well. I've got my biography, so if I want to change that, I click on the pen on the side here and then I can edit all of that information. You can add contributors' prior work, you can add a contributor, you've got the imprint details, you've got your different subjects, so you can change those by clicking on the little pencil as well. You can change this, you can add those details. Now the keywords, you can add more keywords, and I would definitely encourage you to continue to review the keywords and keep adding them to your metadata. You've got the full description. So on this one, I've actually used HTML code, but you can just go back and use the normal description without using the HTML code. If I go down here, short description, so I've got my short description here. I can add review quotes and table of contents. So you can do all that information straight from the dashboard. The other thing you can do is go to print information, and you can look through the different information here. So you can look for if the book is enabled for distribution. You've got the print information, so size of the book, and you can see how I can't change any of this because this print information is locked in against your print ISBN. Now, if we go edit here, you can change the book type, but you'll need to know that so it says your title is currently enabled for distribution, meaning retailers already associate your existing specs with your current ISBN. The only change allowed for titles already in distribution is for the cover from gloss to matte or vice versa. Changes to trim size, binding, interior color, or paper type will require setting up this title with a new ISBN. So you just need to make sure that, again, that's why you need to check everything very carefully before you approve your book. So you can change the paper type and the cover type there. If we scroll down, what we can change is the print pricing. So we would just go edit, and if your price appears on the cover, it may also change that. We've covered this in a previous lesson, so you can just change the retail price and the wholesale discount. For some reason it's not showing a return, but down but for some reason, yeah, it's not giving me that. But what you can do is change the wholesale discount. So if I change that to 50%, then that would then change the compensation payment and highlight it in yellow. If I wanted to change that for the United Kingdom, I could do the same thing, 50, European Union 50, and each place I do it at, it will change the pricing. And if I go global tech, 50. So you can see that the next date it's going to be applied is in about a week's time, and when it's highlighted in yellow, it means you've changed it, and you need to scroll up and push save, and then that will save it. And you've also got whether you've chosen yes destroy or no. Print effective is when it's come into place, and next thing I want to show you is you can upload new files. So if you wanted to change your cover or your manuscript, you go to here and you go to file revisions, and if you do, it would just be like you're uploading the book. I'm not going to do this because I don't want to remove my titles availability, but it is just as simple as adding those to there. It will then take you through to a page where you need to pay the $25 if you're doing a cover and $25 if you're doing a manuscript. It's $25 for each one. So you just need to make sure you don't want to be paying $50 to change the manuscript and the cover if you can avoid it. So that's how you upload new files. So that's got all the details there you need. You can go ahead and change different elements, but there are some things that are locked in against your book. So that is the basic information how to change it. Hopefully that helps you. And if you can avoid it, make sure you get everything right before you push approve. But if you did need to go and change things, you know how to access that. And welcome to this lesson, 7 tips in 7 minutes. I'm going to try as best I can to meet that timeline. So let's get into it right away. Number 1, do not rush the upload. As I've told you before, the upload process is important to get all the elements right, particularly when you get to that final stage of the approval. If you don't check everything properly, then you might be up for the $25 fee that is associated with uploading new manuscript or a new cover. And you want to avoid that. So try and get all of that correct from the very beginning and work through the process slowly of getting everything organized before the upload. So that is tip number 1. Tip number 2 would be to outsource your weaknesses. I found that when I first started publishing, I guess due to budget, I was trying to do everything. So after getting used to what my strengths were, I started to really focus on that. And initially I was actually outsourcing my covers, and I've actually brought those back in-house because I actually enjoy the cover creation. But I do look at definitely outsourcing the EPUB conversion and also different areas of my marketing, such as creating video trailers for my books. That's something which is quite technical, and I get some excellent results. So make sure that you look at outsourcing any weaknesses that you have, because you may spend some money at the front end, but the investment that you make will definitely give you a strong return in the latter stages of your publishing. My third tip would be to save significantly on the upload charges by having potentially an Ally membership. Now, I'm providing my resource guide as part of this course that provides a link to Ally, so you can check that out. But for the cost of the annual membership, you can upload so many books for free. Now, if you consider if it's around about $150, $200 for the membership, then really you only have to upload 4 books for the whole year to get your return back. And also that covers those 5 free uploads, also covers any changes to your covers or manuscript. You can actually use that code for that as well. The other thing is to keep an eye out for any of those discount codes that Ingram provide occasionally, of every few months, so you can utilize that as I've done in this course to get a free upload. So keep an eye out for those discounts, or join Ally for the free upload, 5 free upload codes per month as it currently stands at this point of creating the course. My fourth tip would be to know that it's a race towards quality, not quantity. I hear a lot of people saying, how many books is it going to take me to make $1,000 per month? Well, it might just take 1. but it could also be maybe 10 books. It depends on the quality of the book that you're delivering to your customer. The higher the quality, the more in demand, the better the niche, the more books you will sell, and also your marketing. How much are you marketing your book and advertising it so that people are aware of it? Remember, quality will win over the long term rather than quantity. You might get some initial books done and quickly, but if they're not great, you'll get poor reviews and it can damage your brand. So make sure that you focus on the quality of the books that you're creating for Ingram, and therefore you'll have a much longer term income stream from creating those quality books. Tip number 5 would be to spend more time on niche research. Don't always think that the idea you have for your initial book is going to be a great seller. It may be of interest to you, and yes, you do need to have passion in the project or the book that you're creating, but you've also got to think about the effort and the resources you're committing to making this book. You don't want it just to sit on the online platform or in a bookshelf and not move, because you want to get it into as many hands as possible, and you can do that by spending some more time on niche research. So make sure that you're aware of your product, how well it's potentially likely to sell, and maybe reach out to 20 or 30 people and check if they think it could be a seller, and get them to give you some honest, transparent feedback. It really will help and will save you a lot of time and effort creating books if you're creating the books in the right areas. My 6th tip would be to think carefully about your publishing name on your brand. So what do you want it to represent, say, in the next 5 years? It's something that's hard to work out initially, because it could change. You don't want to have a brand name that potentially is associated with one particular niche. You might want to broaden it a bit, so if your publishing does change over time, you don't need to be changing your website or your website name or your publishing name or your brand. So maybe have it a little bit broader. That would be my recommendation, but just spend some time to get that element right. It's like creating a business name. You do want it to represent what you're doing, but not so narrow that it limits your ability to expand or scale at another stage. So that would be tip number 6. And my final tip would be to encourage repeat customers. So what can you include inside your book, whether it be a downloadable PDF or something they can fill in, or a website link they can go to? What adds value and encourages those customers to make additional purchases? The repeat customer is great. It takes a long time and effort to get an initial customer, but if you can retain that customer, they will become loyal to you and they'll become a raving fan. So if you can do what you can to provide excellent value, then that will be a wonderful way to encourage those customers to speak highly about what you do and your books and to return again. So that's tip number 7. I think I might just be on the 7-minute mark, so I'll finish there. Now, because I do have 30 seconds left, I thought I'd give a bonus tip. So this one is, be mindful that any changes that you make to your cover or your manuscript, if you find any errors, could take some time to come into effect. What do I mean by that? Well, if you've made your book go live and there's 5 or 6 people that have ordered that book and you make a change to the cover, those orders need to be fulfilled first before your cover will be changed by Ingram. They have to put your book on hold so that it doesn't sell anymore until the new cover is put into the system. Then your order or your cover and your book will then meet the new standards that you need. But if orders are already placed on your book, then they need to be fulfilled by Ingram and sent out and printed before the new effects can come into place. So just make sure that you're aware that if you make changes, do them well in advance and don't sell 100 books first and realize you've made a mistake, because those 100 books need to be fulfilled first before your new change will come into effect. I might have gone over time now, but that was an important tip. Well, congratulations if you've made it all the way to the end of the course. I thoroughly enjoyed the opportunity of being able to share my experiences, knowledge, and my own journey with IngramSpark. I do hope that the flow of the lessons has been helpful, and remember, at any time, go back over the lessons. If there's something that you've missed, then there could be something in that lesson that will help you. I would also encourage you to reach out to those community groups for IngramSpark, because they also will be able to help inspire you, provide information and knowledge, and address any concerns that you might have using the platform. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed the opportunity of teaching this information to you. And in the future, I wish you the very, very best with your self-publishing journey. See you later. If you'd like to learn more about self-publishing, just make sure you visit my website, globalselfpublishing.com. And on this website, you'll find a ton of free resources. So if you scroll down on the first page, you'll see an introduction to the website. You'll also get to see some of the courses and content that I've created for you. If you go all the way up to the top here, you can actually also go to the different resources that you can download for free. So here's a number of resources that you can see straight away. Also, if you go to self-publishing courses, you can see that I've also got my premium self-publishing course on publishing a children's book. I've also got free access to my 2-hour CAD-EP Fast Track course. Take a look at the preview for that, and then further down you'll see the other courses that are available, plus a sign-up if you want to access all those courses for just $19 per month. And then finally, I've got software and tools. This provides an outline of the tools that I use for my publishing, and it's a great opportunity to see what I use. I don't use a lot of software programs, but the ones that I do use are the ones that have helped me significantly to elevate my publishing for the last 5 years. So thanks again. Remember to visit globalselfpublishing.com, and all the resources that you need are just in one place.